Good evening, chat. Hello. Hello. Welcome again to our further discussions of the Rekieta saga, or the Rekieta question, the RQ. There have been some filings. There's been some filings that I think are worth going over. And we're going to start getting into that. So I want to say hello to everybody. If you guys are new, once again, I'm Potentially Criminal, also known as Sean. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. I focus on criminal defense topics, and we got a great criminal defense topic to talk about tonight. The prosecution's response to a motion to suppress, motion in limine, and a Frank's motion. You know, they put a response together, and the way I showed it, that's a JDAM coming for the Balldobunker. I hope that kind of tips your hand at what I'm thinking here. Is this a home run and pack your bags? No, but this is devastating. This is devastating. This is not good. I would not be happy if I was Nick right now. I can tell you that much. So, what are you guys doing here so far? The prosecution wrecks the Baldo. Well, I love when Copium calls me potentially Sean. Yeah. Oh, you came from Mr. Sen directly to me. That's a fun time. Oh, do you think the prosecutors are practicing attorney? Yes, I do. I do think they're practicing attorneys. I think they understand what's going on. All right, guys, I'm gonna get a couple of these real quick. There's 4 things to cover. We got 4 super chats. We're gonna get right into it. Just want to give people like a minute or two to get here. Malcolm X for $14.99 in the Australian dollar he dues. Says Sean is overweight, therefore case dismissed. Suffa A logs. Yep, that's it. Yep. Yes. You're fat. Okay. Next sandwiches. Yeah, I do. Like that's all you got. That's all you got. Okay. Well, you have fun with that. J-Rock gifted 5 subs. Jim Cox gifted 5 subs. And Mario Carter 13 says the prosecutor stopped laughing long enough to respond. Well, as Nick says, he apparently thought she was learning how to type, and apparently she learned really fucking fast because she whipped out a banger. And then Costi gifted 20 subs. Let's fucking go, chat. Let's go. All righty. Iowan Lawman says, I have a better analogy concerning the upcoming September. Yes, Mr. President, the second Baldo Tower has been hit. Mr. Rekieta. Oh. So here we go. So the prosecution had until today. So Nick had filed his Frank's motion where he's alleging that the state lied and they done everything. Basically, they lied. Detective Pomplin lied. Aaron wasn't reliable. That April's statements shouldn't be able to be used against Nick, which that's going to be a motion in limine issue. But yeah, I do. Like I said, I still think there's 6th Amendment issues there. There's confrontation things. There might be hearsay exceptions that can be worked around with. Don't really know yet. Don't really know how that's going to play out because we're not even to that part yet. We got to deal with the warrant still. We're still on the warrant. So Nick and his attorney dropped the motion like 3 days before the hearing, which, like I said before, if that's what took you 2 months to bang out, woof. But they did it. And the prosecution asked for time to respond, which they always get. I mean, the opposing party gets time to respond. I mean, the idea you can scream about that, it's like, homie, that happens everywhere because there is a bit of fairness, even though it's an adversarial system. So the state had until today to file a response. Nick and his attorney have until September 6th, so next Friday, to file basically a rebuttal argument or a reply. And obviously, they could do it sooner, but I have a feeling they're probably going to wait till that day, and we'll see what happens. So what did we get today? Well, today we got the state's motion and memorandum. They titled it a little differently, but same thing gets across here. You can read it and understand it. The state's memorandum of law in opposition to defendant's motion to dismiss. Okay, so it's the state of Minnesota versus Nicholas Robert Rekieta. Now, this is the one thing I do want to start off with. And you guys can make fun of me for being a little autist about this. But the first thing I see, it's organized. It's organized, chat. We have headings and we have, we organize this. So we're not writing this like a 7th grader. We actually got structure. I can read and figure out what's going on. Things are broken down. Look at this. We have justified alignment, so it looks like we're not savages. I mean, just look at this goodness. Straight lines. Oh. Like I said, Nick, if you think she was learning how to type, homie, she just ate fucking Frank's lunch. So I'm just telling you. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. But this is like, you guys just read this. You will read this and it will flow and it will make sense. And then look, we have part 2. Wow. And it's like, it just works and it goes together. And it's well done. It's well done, chat. So already I'm already like 9 out of 10 here. 9 out of 10 here. 9 out of 10 here. What do we got? Hold on here. What was this one? Oh, I know what I didn't do. I didn't pop out chat. Boomer move, chat. Boomer move. And where was... I think I just missed this. Yes, we have justification. Yes, it's organized and on time. Gary says, what are the chances this could hear it? It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Uncle Gary says, can you guys go slow so the rest of us non-cocaine addicted, non-child abusing alcoholics have a minute to catch up? My new non-speciality gig cuts into my life now. Well, I'm sorry. Well, you'll be able to see this later. We'll take our time. We'll read through it and get through there. And remember, Melissa, total Baldo busting. Yes. Totally. And what the heck is this thing I'm looking at here? Oh, Strictly Patrick. Yeah, I see that. You know what? Yeah. Yeah. If you guys want to have me on, sure, I'd be happy to stop by. We can always talk and have fun. Where are the pictures? I'm sorry, there's no pictures tonight. There's no pictures. Mr. 9x19 says, getting a hard on for correct paragraph spacing. Paragraph spacing, but it's just professionalism, chat. Professionalism. That's all we're asking for here. Are you going to do this like a professional? Or are you just, globbing shit on a paper and hitting print? There's a difference. It's all about how you... Guys, remember, a trial is sales. I'm trying to sell a narrative. I'm the defense attorney. Nick's attorney's trying to sell a theory. Well, how does that help? If your presentation is good, does it look like hammered dog shit? Is it easy to read and understand and comprehend? Those are things that help you. You have to do as much as you can. Otherwise, you're intentionally sabotaging yourself for no reason. Which I don't get why you would do that. Take advantage of everything you can do to help yourself win. You have to. So, can I appear in court wearing a clown costume? I would not recommend doing that. No. So, So here we go. Here we go. So we've got to start this. There are two issues before the court. First, whether the defendant made a sufficient showing to warrant a Frank's hearing. And second, the seizure of the firearms is lawful. Those are the two things we're left with. The April thing, as the judge said, we're not dealing with that. That's a motion in limine. And remember what Nick said, well, if it's a motion in limine, you're a fucking idiot. And, well, I guess, Nick, well, a lot of people disagree, buddy. Just saying. Just saying. Well, it's funny how that world works. We all don't get you. We all don't get you. Now, from here, we are going to address the Frank stuff. That's obviously the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing we're dealing with. The Frank's hearing. And you can make all the jokes about Franks, or you would enjoy a Frank's. Yeah, I would enjoy a good Frankfurter. Could enjoy a good hot dog. And does a hot dog count as a sandwich? Those are the questions we really need to ponder. So here we go. Here we go. So part one. The defendant is not entitled to a Frank's hearing and cannot go beyond the four corners of the search warrant in a probable cause challenge. So they agree that no warrant shall issue without showing a probable cause. The Fourth Amendment in the Minnesota Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. To determine whether the judge had a substantial basis for finding probable cause, they look to the totality of the circumstances. The task of the issuing judge or magistrate is simple: to make a practical, common sense decision whether, given all the circumstances set forth in the affidavit, including the veracity and basis of knowledge of persons supplying hearsay information, there is a fair probability that contraband or evidence of a crime will be found in a particular place. Quoting Illinois v. Gates. Guys, in Illinois v. Gates is one of the big foundational cases when you're dealing with modern search warrants and how things are done. Gates really kind of was a watershed moment. It changed how things are done. There was a previous test, the Aguilar-Spinelli test, which is far more restrictive. And this is one of those times where the Supreme Court took out their scissors and they went snip, 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 snip to the Fourth Amendment. You know, you'll never hear me say that the Fourth Amendment overall has been on a positive trajectory in the 20th century. It's generally been screwed with and weakened throughout the course of the 20th century. But there are times where there have been pushbacks, but Gates was not one of them. Okay. In reviewing the sufficiency of a search warrant affidavit under the totality of circumstances test, courts must be careful not to review each component of the affidavit in isolation. And that's a big point. You have to look at everything as a totality. Remember, guys, it's a wall. And you have bricks in the wall. You don't examine a single brick and say, well, the brick is bad, therefore the wall's bad. Does the wall stand? Does it stand up in the wind? Is it a strong wall? Or more importantly, you have a bunch of raindrops. You don't look at each drop of rain. You look and say, do I have a flood? Yes. Okay. You don't granularly inspect everything. And they say a collection of pieces of information that would not be substantial alone can combine to create sufficient probable cause. Yes. And you know how we could see that? It's like from Children's Services. All that information about what was going on in the home, it wasn't enough for Children's Services to do anything with. But when you combine it with all the information the police took in, they could combine to create more probable cause. It could strengthen it. And it says, furthermore, the resolution of doubtful or marginal cases should be largely determined by the preference to be accorded warrants. Now, yes, you're reading that and you're like, wait. You know, the resolution of doubtful or marginal cases should be determined by the preference to be accorded warrants. Now, this is a ruling I don't agree with. You'd like to think that the ruling would be, if there's marginal issues or doubtful issues, it should be no warrants. But here we are. I think that's a horrible ruling for Minnesota to have. But I will state, this isn't far from a marginal or doubtful case. Is it the strongest probable cause in the world? Well, no. But is it robust? Sure. Now, in determining whether probable cause exists, both the district court and the reviewing court may consider only information in the application for the search warrant. And yeah, you're kind of stuck with the affidavit. I mean, that makes sense. But if a defendant challenges the accuracy of material facts in a facially valid search warrant, the district court is permitted to look beyond the four corners of the warrant application. Whether there's probable cause to support the warrant is decided on the face of the warrant application and the information contained within the four corners of the document. So as they mean, guys, they mean literally like the four corners of the piece of paper. To go beyond the four corners of the search warrant, a defendant must establish a substantial preliminary showing the affidavit contains a false material statement, the affiant made the false statement intentionally or with reckless disregard for the truth, and 3, the statement is necessary to support a finding of probable cause. And this is U.S. v. Swanson. It's from the 7th Circuit. I believe is Minnesota. I forgot to check this earlier. Minnesota is in the 8th Circuit, so it's a little weird that they're citing a 7th Circuit case. But I mean, if you're going to cite federal circuit cases, you're generally better off citing like where you live. So you'd think they'd hit an 8th Circuit case instead of a 7th Circuit case, but whatever. They do find, State v. Moore, and they have a couple other cases here. This is called a kind of a string citation. You have like case. They have just reinforcing it. The Minnesota Supreme Court found this in 1989. They reasserted it in 2010. The requirement of a substantial preliminary showing is not easily met. To make this showing, the defendant must make an offer of proof in the form of a sworn affidavit of a witness. An id means they're citing to previously cited case, which means U.S. v. Matheson in the 8th Circuit. Now, that would be far more robust if they had state law, a state court case saying that, but that's what they cited. I think I would have tried to find a Minnesota court pointing that out, but whatever. They point out Franks. Remember, Franks v. Delaware, guys. Everybody cites Franks, but there's no actual citation for Franks in either document, and that kind of infuriates me. Franks is limited to cases of perjurious or recklessly false statements or omissions made by a police officer in support of a warrant. The rule does not apply to negligent misrepresentations or omissions. And this is, once again, another 8th Circuit case, which 8th Circuit is where Minnesota is, but it's not Minnesota law. So in this situation, is it persuasive authority? Yes. Is it controlling? No, it's not controlling. It's not binding authority. It's not precedential. But it is something that shows how federal courts interpret Franks, and Franks is a U.S. Supreme Court case. So it does give the court a little bit of, way to look at this. They point out, though, they say here no affidavit was offered by the defendant, no testimony was offered by the defendant, or any defense witnesses. The only challenge of the search warrant comes for the defendant's omnibus motion alleging the misinformation or lack of information was provided by law enforcement in the search warrant. And that's true. There was no affidavit from Nick or anyone else. There was no testimony offered by Nick or anyone else. And remember, guys, as I said, just saying, us and Aaron don't get along, and Aaron made some threats. Like, okay, but threats about what? What's the reason why Aaron hates you? Remember, part of this issue is, well, how is this a lie? How are things unreliable? What's reckless? How is it reckless? Just a conclusory allegation of, well, they lied or policeman bad isn't enough. You have to articulate it. You have to provide the court a chance to read it and understand, okay, yes, here's an affidavit saying here's what happened, or here's why I know this is bullshit, or being able to flesh out a full argument. For example, the whole thing with Aaron. Nick would have to come, they would have to provide the information saying, Aaron and Nick, well, they, as his attorney said, well, they just don't like each other. Well, that's because they don't want to bring up the point of, well, Your Honor, Aaron and Nick, well, they were involved in this wife-swapping polycule, and, well, Nick started cornholing Aaron's wife, and they were all doing coke together, and Aaron decided he wanted to quit doing coke, and Aaron wasn't able to get April to leave the coke-fueled polycule, so he blames Nick for destroying his marriage. That would be how you establish bias and show it. But they didn't do any of that. And just like with Detective Pomplin, how do they know it's fake? How do they know it's false? Well, they just point out like, oh, well, here we're saying it is. But how? Based on what? How do you know? Compared to the original, how do we know? We haven't seen the original. Did Nick give an affidavit saying, this is not what it is? Or somebody else who could attest to it? No, we don't have any of that information. They point out that Nick did submit some exhibits in support of his motion. However, the exhibits are incomplete and create a misleading picture of the evidence provided. This is essentially a fishing expedition by the defendant to go beyond the four corners of the warrant. The defendant is attempting to get a Franks hearing without making the requisite showing. And I agree. This is fishing. They want to get him up there to try to find stuff. No, you have to show what you're going to find or you believe you'll find. You can't just go, this is sussy. And then the prosecutor brings up the Kaneohe County Children's Services letter. And they bring up that they screened out the initial maltreatment report, and that should not have ended the inquiry. They point out the search warrant wasn't based solely on the maltreatment report, and that the screening of child maltreatment reports is controlled by an entirely different set of statutes and standards than criminal cases. And as I tried to explain, the way they handle it is different than the way the police handle information. For children's services, they get calls all the time they have to screen out. So it wasn't as though it's unsubstantiated. It's something they just couldn't investigate. They didn't have enough to investigate. An unsubstantiated finding is an actual, serious finding. They don't just say, oh, we couldn't look into it, therefore it's substantiated. There's we declined to investigate it. And they say whether there's enough to investigate a child maltreatment report has no bearing on whether or not criminal activity may be occurring. And that's true. Remember, Children's Services, Alicia Sweep, they look at that brick, and they're like, you know what? I can't build a wall with this. It's garbage. Well, Detective Pomplin can pick it up and say, actually, you know what? The brick's fine. I can use this brick, and I'm going to put it in my wall. And guess what? It helped him build the wall. Oh, put it on screen? Shit. Sorry, chat. Damn it, I thought I had it up. And I got the second screen up, too. Jesus. So, the screening of the maltreatment report should have ended the inquiry, but that's not true. The screening is controlled by a different set of standards. The way Children's Services works is different than the Sheriff's Department. And the way Children's Services works doesn't have any bearing on how the police investigate. If Alicia Sweep says we can't do anything about it, Detective Pomplin can't go, I guess we're fucked too. No, that's not how it works. He's allowed to take that report they have and go, I can use this information, click into the wall. And it gives him more probable cause. I'll take the over on screen share mishaps. Thanks, Zar. Thursday says, I'll listen to Tug when it comes to CPS issues. Well, you're free to tell me where I'm wrong so far, because I haven't been wrong on this. This is how it works, okay? Child maltreatment reports are cross-reported between law enforcement and child protection services. This is a state mandate. They have to work together. Once Pomplin received the report, he began an investigation of whether or not there was criminal activity related to drugs. The purpose of his inquiry is different and not controlled by CPS standards. Both agencies started with the same information, and they applied their standards to that information differently. It's not relevant that the report was screened out. And they argue, even for the sake of argument, if it was relevant, whether or not the trial maltreatment report was screened out by an entirely different agency using different standards has no bearing on the probable cause determination. The report was the basis for the start of law enforcement's investigation. Remember, guys, when the pastor came to the police department and he told the sheriff what was going on, that's what started everything. Remember, that's the reporting by the pastor, that the prudest of the Scandinavians, the ringleader of the Scandinavian prudes, came to the sheriff and said, look, here's what's going on. The sheriff said, okay, cool, we'll take that information down. They gave it to the detective. The detective was going to start, I need to look at what the hell is this all about? So they started looking it up. And then he finds out about Aaron. Oh, okay. And then he finds the stream with Nick. Oh. And wow, this all kind of matches up like somebody on drugs. The same time Alicia Sweep is reading this and saying, well, I can't do anything about this yet. This isn't enough for me to actively move on. Okay? So two people can do different things. Now, it wasn't the sole basis for the search warrant either. And even if the court were to strike the information, there is still probable cause for the search warrant based on Pomplin's subsequent investigation. Now, I would agree with that, but that's a weakening of it, I think. It's a substantial weakening of the probable cause. And I don't think it should be struck in. I think they have a valid reason to have it included. The defendant also argues that Pomplin intentionally misrepresented the relationship between the defendant and Aaron Imholt in the application. The defendant notes there was a pre-existing relationship between Nick and Aaron by referring to prior videos where they appeared together or Imholt appeared from Nick's house. Pomplin concluded there may have been a recent falling out between Aaron and Nick. He also indicated Aaron and April had separated. Pomplin informed the issuing magistrate, Judge Fisher, as she's sitting there squeezing liquor bottles with her vagina, apparently, according to Nick, that Aaron and Nick were no longer on good terms. The full-throated threats that Nick references in his memorandum all involve the idea that Aaron knows information about Nick that Nick doesn't want to be made public. And I think that's very true. This does not indicate something more than a falling out. The statements that Nick cites as threats are not threats to physically or financially harm Nick. They're statements about sharing secrets Nick doesn't want shared. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Detective Pomplin's statement there may have been a falling out between Aaron and Nick is not a material misrepresentation of the facts. And I would agree at this point because also remember, what did Nick's attorney say? What did Nick's attorney say in the transcript? They just don't like each other. Not they hate each other's guts or they'll fight if they run into each other. He said they just don't like each other. Is that really any different from having a falling out? No. You've conceded that point now. Which, once again, I get it. You don't want to come into court and say, well, Your Honor, our coke-fueled fucking suck, this is going on here and Aaron's mad because I stole his wife. And now she's it's a 3-person fucking suck instead of a 4-person fucking suck. Yeah, that's horrible. Bad. It's bad. It's embarrassing. But that's a lot more than they don't like each other. Now, I love this line. The defendant may disagree with it, But that does not make it a lie. Yes. Everybody I don't like is not Hitler. You know, if I don't like you, you're Hitler. If I don't like you, you're lying. No, that's not how this works. The statement indicates there's no longer an ongoing relationship. A falling out indicates the ending of that relationship was not on good terms. Even if the statements the defendant cited as memorandum were included in the probable cause portion of the affidavit, there's still probable cause. The statements cited by Nick indicate that Aaron and Nick indicate that M. Holt and the defendant, and this is where a prior personal relationship is no longer ongoing. I think there's supposed to be a had or something there. I don't know. That's very... I think she skipped a word there. Oh, well. Or maybe I'm misreading it because I'm an idiot. I don't know. This is the same information provided by Pomplin. Pomplin gave the issuing magistrate additional information. Remember, the issuing magistrate is Judge Fisher. They call it a magistrate, but that's why they use the term magistrate. Magistrate also goes back to the Roman times as somebody. Yeah, and we're not going to go to that. The statements made by Aaron. Detective Pomplin notes that Aaron had personally used controlled substances in the recent past, and there were direct statements by Aaron that Nick was using controlled substances. Pomplin pointed out that Aaron insinuated use by the defendant, but did not directly state that. Aaron also talked about a video where Nick appeared to be under the influence. Yes, and as I said before, guys, Aaron's information coupled together with this, Aaron's information, so here's where we got to, chat. Here's where we got to. The magistrate gave additional information to gauge the veracity of the statements made by Aaron. Aaron alluded that Nick had used controlled substances, and he admitted that he had used them himself. Aaron wasn't the sole basis for the search warrant. And the things Aaron said were reinforced through other information. Aaron had no idea about the Scandinavian prudes. Aaron had no hand in Nick making that video. So Aaron's information was corroborated. So, yes, even if you include all that, there's still probable cause. Yeah, Aaron and Nick hate each other, but what Aaron said, I could verify. Okay. John says, real quick here. John says, when Nick gets no jail time and a slap on the wrist, will you guys cry? No, I think he's entitled to no jail time. He's a first-time offender. The Minnesota sentencing guidelines dictate that anyway. So no, I would expect him to get no jail time out of this. He shouldn't get jail time out of this. I mean, even though Nick has done something wrong, I'm still for the decarceral state. We don't need to put more people in prison just for the sake of it. Like, prison's not for people you hate. It's for people you fear. You know, you're fearful that person's out on the streets, not this person's an asshole. So no, I still think Nick won't go to jail. I'm willing to bet money he's not going to jail. I've already bet money he's not going to jail. So try harder next time, John. I'm not sure what you'll cry about then. So yes, I will cry. Well, I already said he's not going to. So I don't know how I'm going to cry, but that's okay. The information provided by Aaron is not the sole base for the search warrant. Aaron's video on May 22nd refers to a video Nick produced the day before, where the defendant appeared to be under the influence of drugs. Pomplin did not rely on that statement alone. Pomplin then watched the defendant's video for himself. So yes, I understand Nick couldn't wrap his mind around reading the complaint, but that's what happened here. That's what happened. Nick read it, or Pomplin watched Aaron screaming and hollering, saw that clip and said, huh. And then what did Pomplin do? He then went and watched the full video. That's how this works. That's how this works. He did an investigation. So Nick Rekieta screaming, he lied, he lied. I just want him not to lie. It's not hard. He don't lie. No, Nick. It's very clear that he watched the 4-hour and 4-minute video. Why would he know it's 4 hours and 4 minutes? Because he watched it. Pomplin has been trained as a drug recognition expert. I will say, yeah, drug recognition experts are generally bullshit. But when they can tell for sure, well, everybody can tell. But like drug recognition experts on DUI stops are a whole load of horse shit. I will say that much. I think I've said that before. But based on his review of the record, Pomplin determined that Nick was showing signs of being under the influence of a controlled substance. The defendant argues that Pomplin didn't watch the entire video that Nick published on his social media on May 21st. In support of that contention, he submitted a PowerPoint that contains a clip from that stream. The clip is less than 1 minute long and does not include any audio. This is a clip from the full video that Pomplin created. Now, this is where I know Nick is going to go run around screaming, see, he said created, Pomplin made it, he lied. No, Nick, that's not what he's trying to say. And no, you don't got him now. The walls are not closing in. You're not going to lead Pomplin out in handcuffs, buddy. Just, there you go. They point out the video. It was disclosed to the defense on July 3rd. Defense counsel downloaded it at 12:31 p.m. on July 3rd. Now, how do they know the specific time of this? Because there is software, and I have this here with a bunch of the counties I deal with, where they say, hey, here's your discovery. It's all electronic. Okay, so you download it, and it'll put on the screen with each file, last access this day. So they know when you've looked at it. And I can tell when you've looked at it. I can go back because I've had, when I was a prosecutor, we had a case once where the defense attorney said, oh, I never got this. I never saw this. And I went and opened it up and hit print. And we brought out the data and it says, look, they have. So here you go. Okay, guys. Okay. It was closed to defense on July 23rd or July 3rd, and he downloaded 12:31. It's because you can pull up that metadata, and I can pull up that data. If I'm the prosecutor, I can pull it up and say, look, here's when he downloaded it. Now, is Nick's attorney going to claim that there's a conspiracy and they're lying about when this happened? No. But that's there. Hire Bronco. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to be fine. It's going to be okay, chat. I promise. It's going to be okay. Shh. John says, what will I talk about once this is over? Well, Nick, I'm probably going to talk about sandwiches a lot because I'm fat. It's almost like there's a song where I talk about like all the different shit I talk about. So anyway, what was also disclosed on July 3rd at the same time as the PowerPoint was the entire 4-hour and 4-minute long video from the defendant's channel with audio. This was downloaded by defense counsel on July 18th at 12:49 p.m. Huh. This full video has been uploaded for the court to review and shared with the defendant. Oh boy. Now let's go back to Nick's motion because this is fun. Here's Nick's motion where they're screaming and their panties are on fire about this 1-minute clip. Chat, it contains the watermarks. Chat, it contains a watermark. Chat, there's a watermark there. It's been altered. It's been edited. There's a watermark, chat. No! Screams Nick from the Balldobunker. They lied. Why can't they just not lie? I just don't want them to lie, chat. The police lied. No. Well, sounds like someone else may have made an omission here. I mean, actually, I'll just say it sounds like someone's lying. Sounds like someone made an omission, an intentional omission of what's available. I mean, really, you're sitting here screaming and crying about this 1 little minute clip video, and you've got the 4-hour and 4-minute hog sitting behind you. Like, really? Yes, this should terrify you. What can happen? You mean the state handing over all their discovery? It should terrify you. Why would you? You're focused on this little, you're focused on this piece of rock, and the boulder it came from is behind you. Like, this is flim-flam bullshit. This is flim-flam bullshit. Now, some of you might be saying, well, can't Nick in his reply go, ha-ha, that's what I wanted you to think, but here's my real argument. Not really. You're kind of like you're responding to the state's argument. Trying to introduce new evidence, a new argument at that point is not allowed generally. And if he tried, I'm sure the state would say, no, that's not fair to us, because then we have to respond to that. You have to respond to everything we've already agreed to. And no, this isn't like some shitty card game where you just like play a card and you just slow play your way through it. Like you're playing Texas Hold'em and you're just checking the whole way through to the river. No, you got to fucking play your cards. This is, yeah. Oh boy, Nick, this is not good look. The other problem is when you're trying to convince the court, Your Honor, they lied. We need a hearing. And you're fucking lying yourself. Or I'm sorry, you misrepresented or omitted something. Your Honor, why aren't you focused on the real things? The judge isn't going to be fucking sympathetic to you. He's not going to trust you. That's not good. That's not good. That's not how this works. You can't do that. But let's move back to the prosecutor's motion. Now we're back on the prosecutor's motion. The defense argues on the PowerPoint clip was manipulated, but as you can see from the full video stream, the clip is taken directly from the video at approximately 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 40 seconds into the video. The only editing is to cut the clip from the entire video. The other brand on the clip may have been from the application used to make the clip. Remember, we don't know what it is because there's nothing included in the motions. There's no pictures or anything that's provided that's attached. The full video shows that is entirely from the defendant's channel, which will be interesting to see where he got it from. There are no other labels or markings indicate the video is not authentic. Now, here's the big thing, chat. At this point, that's good enough. This works. This is good enough. This is good enough to get probable cause. This is good enough. They don't have to have the entire provenance worked out or demonstrate everything about it. This is there. They've met probable cause. This isn't a Frank's issue. This. Yeah, it just doesn't work. Nick, I mean, holy shit, Nick. Dude. This is fucking garbage. Like I said, that JDAM I put on the screen is very apropos. She just dropped a fucking JDAM on your argument and just skadoosh. Like you're some Afghan guy on a fucking moped getting hit with a JDAM, dude. There ain't nothing left. Like, why? Why would you do this? This is fucking sloppy work where the prosecutor can point out, they're fucking lying. Prosecutor, she pulled out a reverse card and said, no, you. Like, that's not good. That's not good. Now, I understand Nick might also try to make an argument here that, oh, no, she doesn't understand what we're arguing. The prosecutor's too stupid to understand what we're arguing. Nick, if I can't figure it out, most attorneys can't figure it out, the prosecutor can't figure it out, the judge isn't likely going to be able to figure it out. That doesn't mean you've got some super space brain 85 chess esoteric argument that, we just don't recognize today. No, it means your argument's fucking retarded. It means it's garbage. It means it doesn't fucking work. Yeah. It just doesn't. And they point out Detective Pomplin informed the issuing magistrate the video is no longer publicly available, and he is able to view the entire video stream. Ooh, it sounds like he may have been able to get it. Now, does that sound like he had a sloppy affidavit? Sure. Is that not as correct there? I don't know. But was he lying? No, it doesn't appear he was lying. Now, am I going to believe that this prosecutor is lying? I get it, Nick. I dare you to call the prosecutor a liar. Let's see how well that goes. But at this point, they're calling you the fuck out. Are you telling me you haven't seen this video in Discovery? You guys really only had the 1 minute clip? I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm going to call bullshit on that, Nick. So, yeah. The entire video is consistent with the statements made by Aaron. Yep. And remember, that corroborates Aaron's information. Detective Pomplin used his own training as a DRE to describe the defendant's behavior and how that's consistent with drug use. Pomplin did not misrepresent the information. He viewed the entire video. This was disclosed to the defendant. The defendant had this video for over a month prior to the omnibus hearing. Instead of being candid with the court, remember, guys, as attorneys, we have a duty of candor. You have a duty of candor. And candor means being truthful, chat. You have a duty of candor to the court. You have to tell the truth. You have to be honest about things. You can't lie. You can't misrepresent things. You can't omit things intentionally. You can't lie by omission. You're allowed to mess up or get something wrong, but you have to fix it. Yes. Yes, Patty says Nick's winning. Yes. Are you winning, son? The defendant implied the only video that was closed to them was the short clip. And it's correct. When you read this, guys, go back and read this. In Discovery, the state produced a PowerPoint presentation with what purports to be a clip of a defendant's May 21st, 2022 live video stream, as well as the image purporting to be a screenshot of the same. Now, I just realized this, but that Nick, your attorney, he mistyped something. It wasn't 2022, it was 2024. Nick. Oh no, did your attorney lie? Is this perjury? He didn't get it right. Nick, he didn't get it right. No, this is perjury. Nick, your attorney's perjurious. We got him, chat. Yeah, there, Nick. It's like, see, once again, Nick, this is like player to player, pimp to pimp moment here, okay? Do you listen to how retarded that argument sounds? Like, oh my God, they misspelled something. It's perjury. No. Quit trying to do this like you're some pro se litigant. Like, actually, you went to law school. Like, no, you did. Do it the right way, man. Come on. But they spend all their time talking about this goddamn clip. They spend all their time talking about this clip, chat. And what do? They don't talk about anything else. They talk about the applicant did not review the defendant's original video. This is a misrepresentation of material fact to the court. And they're just talking about all the bullshit here about what he viewed, when in reality, he fucking viewed the video. Come on, Nick. Come on. You know, that's the thing here. Like, Nick, how do you go from doing all the stuff you've done before? You know, you weren't a stupid guy before, but now this is just like how the mighty have fallen, and it's even more sad. Like, from where you were at the time, at the top of where you were, to this is, like I said before, this is like when you go to the bar and there's that barfly that sits at the end who's drunk all the time and gets in everybody's fucking way and goes and fucks with the jukebox and is trying to dance with everybody's girl, and then after a while kind of like sticks back up on a chair and then eventually gets so drunk he falls off and cracks his head open and then comes back tomorrow and does it all over again. It's like, it's sad. It's sad. Now, this is the prosecutor being very nice. She says this has the appearance of an intentional misrepresentation to the court of what information has been disclosed. That's her way of being very nice, saying, you guys are fucking liars. That's her nice way of saying it. That's her nice way of saying it. That is a nice way of saying it. And yeah, basically, Nick and his attorney sound like fucking liars. And remember, you're trying to convince the court, Judge, we want the Franks hearing. Detective Pomplin lied. You know, what about you, Mr. White? It looks like you guys lied. And you're like, no, we didn't lie. Well, I mean, there you go. Yeah. But yes, this is Kristen Pierce. You know, the girl, Nick's like, she's learning how to type. Nick, she came in and ate fucking Frank's lunch. She took her dick out and rubbed it on your face and said, do something about it. That's what she just did here. She called you the fuck out. So the question is, Nick, and for your attorney, are you guys going to take that? I mean, you're kind of going to have to, because you got caught. So you're going to have to take it. Just saying. Now, they talk more, though. Additionally, Pomplin viewed videos from Nick's channel going back several months. Between January and May of 2024, Pomplin notes the defendant's changes in appearance, including that he lost weight, appears tired, and overall appears strung out. Yes. All of these are common with controlled substance users per Pomplin specialized training as a DRE, as experience as a cop. Well, it's also common with anybody who has experience with drug addicts. Nick failed to make the requisite heist, showing that the affiant, Pomplin, intentionally made a false statement or with reckless disregard for the truth. Therefore, the defendant is not entitled to a Franks hearing. Any challenge to the search warrant is limited to the four corners of the document at this point. The state requests an additional briefing schedule. The defendant is raising a general probable cause challenge to the warrant, which, you know, they're probably going to have to do because they're going to lose the Franks hearing here. And if they lose the Franks hearing, okay, well, now you're challenging the general probable cause of the search warrant, and you're going to lose on that too, man. You're going to lose on that too. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. No, is it, like I said, Chad, are we 100% guaranteed? No, but it's like, if I had to bet money, if I bet the money in my pocket, you know, I'd be betting on this, the court ruling in favor of the state on this one. So we move on to the seizure of the firearms and whether it was lawful. The defendant's argument is grounded in the prohibition on reasonable searches and seizures. Yep, under the 4th Amendment and the 14th Amendment and the Minnesota Constitution. And they talk about, the right of people to be secure in their persons and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. And they say, as a general rule, any search without a warrant is per se unreasonable unless the search falls within one of the few specifically established and well-delineated exceptions. And as well established under certain circumstances, items not named in a search warrant may be seized. The plain view exception to the particularity requirement, and before we get far, chat, remember, a search warrant, you have to talk about specifically with particularity where you're going and what you're looking for and what you think you're going to find and how you can find it and why do you think it's there. You have to have particularity about those things. You have to say exactly where you're going and you have to be able to identify it. In this one we read, Detective Pomplin identified it by its address. But let's say it was an apartment. So you'd have to say, or it's a bunch of townhouses or row houses put together. You have to say, it's like 123 Elm Street and it's a row house and it's a third house from the end. It's got a green door and pink shutters on the first floor. And on the second floor, it's got black shutters. You're going to do as much as you can to specifically demonstrate that property and like the particularity of everything. So the particularity requirement there is also about what exactly you're looking for, because you can't just say we're looking for anything illegal. No, specifically what in relation to what crime. So the particularity requirement is satisfied where an officer lawfully executing a search warrant authorizing the seizure of certain items inadvertently comes upon other items whose nature is immediately apparent. And the police have probable cause to seize an object in plain view if the facts available to the officer would warrant a person of reasonable caution in the belief certain items may be useful as evidence of crime. To justify a warrantless seizure under the plain view, the probable cause must be based on evidence revealed in plain view and cannot be obtained after conducting some further search of the object. Now, in Nick's case, we're going to get to this. The search was for controlled substances. During that search, firearms were located. The exact models and locations are listed in Supplemental Report 1 submitted by the defense. The officers were acting within their legal authority to search the defendant's home pursuant to the warrant where they located the firearms. And remember, chat, this is the time where when you're looking for stuff, if I'm looking for drugs, I can look everywhere drugs will fit. Could drugs fit in, my business card holder? Yes. Could drugs fit in a lot of places? Sure. But let's say you're looking for a murder weapon. Could you check in this? No. So if I had a gram of coke in here and you couldn't open it and find it, and if you found it, this would be an illegal search because you weren't allowed to look in here. You shouldn't have been looking in here. But you can look anywhere in this room where you could hide. If you're looking for a knife, where could I hide a knife? Let's say it's a fixed blade knife with a 7-inch long blade and a 5-inch handle. Well, now you have to look for somewhere I can hide it that's a foot long. Anywhere in this room. Well, in Nick's situation, they're looking for drugs. Okay, well, we can find guns in those same spots. And you don't have to look at the gun anymore to know that it's a gun. And you also don't have to look anymore to know you can't have guns and drugs. That's a violation of state law. There is no limitation in the warrant that areas of Nick's home were not to be searched. And sometimes there may be limitations. There might be unique living circumstances. There might be other third parties there. There might be any number of reasons why warrants are limited to certain areas. The firearms were located in the bed, under the bed in the master bedroom, in the garage, and in a safe in the garage of the home. These locations were authorized by the initial search warrant. When law enforcement found the items, it was immediately apparent they were evidence of a crime. Remember, guys, when they pick them up, they go, These guns are contraband because you're not allowed to have drugs and guns. As I said before, that's how they did this. It's a very simple argument. In Minnesota, it's unlawful for a user of controlled substance to possess a gun. Also located in the home is over 26 grams of cocaine, 8 units of ketamine, and there was evidence of these controlled substances in the home. In the master bedroom, they located all the tubes that tested positive for cocaine, the container filled in the grinder that tested positive for cocaine, the bag of cards and the dollar bill that tested positive for cocaine, the scale that tested positive for cocaine, and the mental pan. Oh no, chat, she did it again. It's a mental pan. There's no such thing. She committed perjury, chat. Game over. I mean, seriously, Nick strikes me as like using these arguments. It's the bullshit arguments. They misspelled your name on the ticket, therefore it's valid. It's like, no, that's not how that fucking works. It doesn't work that way. It's over. Case closed. Nick is free. Oh. Yes, he's grasping at Coke straws. Yes. Case dismissed. Total Baldo victory. Baldo victory. Yes, this is Nick's. It's a combo breaker. Yeah. All right. So the metal pan tested positive for cocaine. They're probably freebasing out of. The metal cutters that tested positive for cocaine. The Hundy that tested positive for cocaine. And the cocaine scooper. These items are direct use in the home in addition to actual controlled substance found. And Pomplin, as a trained DRE, had his own observations of the defendant from his videos that indicated being under the influence of drugs, as well as the statements of individuals from CPS who indicated there were concerns of ongoing substance use. All this information taken together shows there was evidence of controlled substance use. When the guns were found in the home, it was immediately apparent the firearms were evidence of a crime based on the controlled substance use. There was no further need to search the guns, and that's the point. You don't have to open up the guns. You don't have to check them. That would be a search. You don't have to run the serial numbers on them. Running the serial numbers on an item, that itself is a search. And I know Kurt and Nate had talked about it, I think, last night or the night before. There's a Supreme Court case where the police were in a guy's apartment, and they saw a stereo, and they're like, that looks like a stereo that's been stolen because we got to be on the lookout for the stereo that was stolen. And what did the police do? They walked up to the stereo, and they moved the stereo, and they turned, and they read the serial number on it. That's a search, and they didn't have a warrant for that. That search got suppressed. I forget the case off the top of my head, but that was actually a big one. So that's the issue there. You don't have to search anymore to figure out what's going on. The gun is the gun. Their possession is evidence of a crime, making it immediately apparent to law enforcement their evidentiary value. Accordingly, their seizure was lawful under the plain view exception of the warrant. And they say defendant's motion should be denied in their entirety. The defendant failed to make the requisite high showing that Pomplin made any material misrepresentations or omissions in the application. The defendant's argument relies heavily on their assertion Pomplin did not view the entire video of the defendant's reference in the search warrant application. This argument overlooks the fact the entire video was disclosed to the defendant at the same time as the clip his argument hinges on. The information provided by Pomplin was accurate and no material misrepresentations or omissions were made. The seizure of the firearms was legal under the plain view exception. The firearms were immediately recognized as evidence of crime because you can't use controlled substances and you're prohibited. As their evidentiary value is immediately recognized, their seizure is permitted under the plain view exception. Now, this is, I guess, a little weird here. Normally, you include at the bottom your prayer for relief. Wherefore, the state asks that the court overrule the defendant's motion to dismiss, motion to suppress, and also deny their Frank's motion as improper. So it's usually you put that here at the bottom. but it's not there. I don't know why it's not. Bronx Beat says, I hit dislike. Is that okay? Actually, it is, because that counts as engagement. So YouTube's going to go, ooh, people are not liking it, but I want to see what's going on. So that's where we are with this. Nick got fucking BTFO'd here. I understand Nick's like, I wasn't blindsided. I'm like, if you weren't blindsided, you guys fucking set yourself up. Like, you set yourself up to get sucker punched. And I know why you would do that. You admit the fact that you have the 4-hour video in your possession and you aren't challenging that. I mean, if you have that, challenge that. But instead you're like fucking around with some little ancillary thing. Come on, man. Come on. That's fucking weak. That is fucking weak shit, man. That is not going to work. That is not going to work. I'm glad Sarah Boone got an attorney. Yeah, well, maybe her attorney's going to be better than this guy, because this was not good. This was not good. And now seeing how shitty that motion was, and then seeing how poorly it was put together, and now seeing this, ooh, child. That is not good. That is not good. I am not impressed at this point. You're fucking running your mouth about this 1-minute video clip when you've got the whole goods behind you like that. Come on. Oh. Oh. Let me see here. Somebody, where is this thing in here? Beloved chatter, you said that's... Oh, it's Arizona v. Hicks, is it? Okay. I thought I forgot the name of the case, but I knew it was something like that. There we go. Arizona v. Hicks. What year was that? It's like the 60s or something. When people would like actually have... Oh, it's 1987. Okay. Yes. So... Jim says you never take the plea though right away. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Because sometimes it's not going to get any better. Deplorable Bitter Klinger says, no one except Hunter Biden gets prosecuted for that on 4473. I actually disagree. A lot of people get prosecuted on a 4473. The reason why you don't hear about them is because they're black and nobody gives a shit. A lot of people get in trouble. It's just you don't ever hear about it. So it's more than just Hunter. It's more than just Hunter. You got to get Barnes on this case. Yeah, Bobby Barnes needs a parachute in. Like, it's... Barnes needs a drop pod. We'll see. Before the next hearing, there's going to be rocketing through the sky. Just boom. Barnes hops out to save the day. He's going to have to. Because right now, it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. It's not good. Casper says 4 hours and 4 minutes of evidence. Yeah. The Coke stream is 4 hours and 4 minutes. And I think that's like 4 seconds. So... Barnes will only make things worse. Oh, 100% he will. Yes, he will. What the hell's on my shirt? It's spelled. Oh, well, he should just plead. I know. I mean, he's willing to. Fine. Test their, Nick wants to test their evidence. Fine. But it's not going to get any better. I mean, we already know what the evidence says. It wasn't like they're miraculously going to go like, oh, it's not cocaine after all. Nick has always wanted to be black, but he had to settle having black inside of him. Oof, chat, that's no good. That's no good. 444, the Chinese are triggered. Yes, apparently that's not a good number in the Asian arts. The cope sip went bad. I know. Well, I don't know how to cope sip, so I need to practice more. I need to cope more. I'm really glad that Kurt and Nate called out Barnes for lying. And yeah, Barnes is lying. Barnes lied about all kinds of shit so far. Remember, it's all about Nick being in charge and he's fighting the government, chat. You just don't get it. He's fighting the government. And Nick's like, no, I'm not. And I'm sure Barnes is going to go, well. And then also, you remember Barnes said, like, well, I've searched these cases and there's case law about personal use. Nobody's challenged personal use yet, Barnes. And Mindset and I read through the case you're citing. There's an entire paragraph after that sentence that says you're wrong. Barnes just goes, oh, well, there's a Constitution. Like, yes, that's great. I can imagine it now. You get charged with jaywalking. You're like, well, there's a Constitution. You have the right to travel. It's like, okay, but how do I address this argument? How do I address the court case in front of me? Well, you got the Constitution. Okay, Barnes, yes, thank you. Is your decision tree only involve the United States Constitution? Because there's a lot more to it than that. No, for Barnes, it's my Constitution the whole time. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't work here. That doesn't work. But it is. It's all he does. It's all he does, and it's not helping anybody. And I hope like he's telling Nick this shit, and Nick is getting it's feeding into Nick's sense that he's got something here. No. Once again, people if you really want to help someone, you don't feed their delusions. You don't enforce it. You don't enable it. You give them fucking reality. You give them the straight facts. So no, running around saying you got this, champ, you got this, and when he's gonna get fucking smoked is not helping him. Wasn't it Barnes who recommended his lawyer to Nick? Wasn't it? I don't know if they did. I don't really know how it worked out. Christine Micro says, God forbid an alcoholic addict go to rehab. Well, Nick should. He probably should go to rehab. But, Nick's going to make excuses like, they'll use that against me. No, they won't. Trust me, they will not. They can't. That's not how that works. Trust me, I've had clients go to rehab and you can't use it against them because you can't. He's probably going to plead when this motion fails. No, there's other things they can challenge. I'm sure they're going to try to challenge it on the general probable cause. That's going to be probably Nick's last stand at that point. And he'll get wiped out there again because at this point, if they survive the Franks motions, and I'm sure the judge is going to hint, yeah, they have probable cause at this point. So there's very little Nick's going to be able to challenge. And I mean, if he goes to trial, he's, And here's the point, chat, too. The drug results came back. And we know they came back because they were disclosed, that the discovery disclosure happened. If it wasn't cocaine, Nick would have been screaming from the rooftops already, and there would have been a dismissal of the case. So we know it was yayo. We know it's 26 grams of yayo. So as Nick is trying to say, like, well, it could have been, we don't know. It's like, no, Nick, we do know. We know it's cocaine. We know there was a rush for the yayo. So I don't know what Nick's going to do at this point. I really don't. I mean, he can keep doing all of this, and it's going to be theatrical and hilarious, and I guess we'll have more to cover, and sure, it'll be fun to cover it. That's all we've got really going forward on it. Stop Moss B says, happy pizza day. Well, thank you. It is pizza day. It's actually super double cocaine. Yes. Bronx Beat says, why did he wear shorts to court? Who wore shorts to court? No, Nick wore pants. Like, we've seen the pictures. Like, everybody wore proper attire to court. Nobody was wearing shorts. I don't know who you're talking about. Is that like with cocaine on your shirt? You can't prove that. Mega Monster, this is actually a good question, saying, I know judges are not supposed to let the evidence found after the fact interfere with their judgment on warrants, but how often do judges, you think, actually affect what a judge is thinking? I mean, sometimes, but I mean, there's enough times where, I remember that I ended up helping the police put together a search warrant and they hit a house, and it turns out their intel was they were only like 3 hours behind and the guys had moved the drugs. And they had moved them in a way the cops weren't ready for, and they moved them out a different door in a different vehicle in a different way, and they got away with it. And they hit the house, and there were just like, a couple of wrappers and a bindle sitting there, and it was a vacant house at that point. So it's a cat and mouse game. It's just like when you watch, going after, sometimes you don't find the person you're looking for. You don't find the stuff you're looking for. It's a search warrant, not a find warrant. If they knew they were going to be there, it'd be a finding warrant more than that. Those look like wet finger marks. Is 2.0 abusing me? No. No, she's not. What did Barnes lie about? A lot of things. And if he didn't lie about them, he's just spouting off like a moron without knowing what's there. And that's really not much better. Who wore shorts to court? I don't understand who you guys are talking about. I don't know who wore shorts to court. This makes no goddamn sense. Jeremy Day says this is a motion to suppress, not a motion to suppress. Yes. Yes, that's the beauty of it, chat. I just don't understand it. It's not a motion to suppress. It's just a motion to suppress. Kara says, wait, Nick hired one of his locals to be his lawyer. Yes. Well, his attorney, I guess, follows him on locals and follows him on Twitter. But other than that, I don't think posts a lot in locals. I don't think he's super chatted before. But yeah, he follows along with them. Brian Jones says, could the state make Nick's plea offer worse? Certainly. If you keep dragging stuff out and now, here's the deal. I presume that Kirsten Pierce, or however she addresses herself, is professional, and she's not going to let Nick running his fucking mouth like some jack-off retard talking shit about her to get to her. She's going to be professional and say, okay, here, Frank, your client might be a little fucking worm, but here, I'll let him take a plea deal. Here's the plea deal. It's the same one Kayla's getting. Now, if Nick goes to trial and starts fucking around, she could say, okay, well, the deal's gone, come back to me later. And if you make me do all this shit, the deal's going to get worse. And that does happen. There are prosecutors, and I've dealt with them before, who you're doing a motion, they make a plea offer and you file a motion to suppress. And they look at you and say, if you file this motion to suppress and we have the hearing, I'm withdrawing the plea offer. Now that leaves your client with options. Like, do I take that extorting? Because that's perfectly legal. That is actually a legal thing they can do. And take the plea, or do you go to your suppression hearing? And if you win, obviously you win. But that's a game 7 situation. You either win or you go home. So you have to be very careful. There's no motions in lemonade, Sean. Yes. It's tough to explain 26 grams of coke. Yep, it is. Motions in lanolin. Oof. Got to shear your sheep better so there's not lanolin in the wool. Sergeant Dornan says, what worse is Viva doesn't push back on the bullshit Barnes spouts? Oh, I know. And he just sits there and laughs. And I'm like, I thought a little better of Viva, but, he doesn't want to rock the boat, I guess. If I did the ounce of coke, I would understand his brilliance. I know. You know, the cocaine takes your ability to think about things from here all the way up to here. Yeah, better Sneed Barnes. If Nick paid me $100K to shut up, would you take it? I would. Are you fucking kidding me? For $100,000, Nick comes up to me and my fucking porch dumps out 100 bands and says, "Take it, you'll shut up." Oh my god, I'd have lips like a fucking statue. Are you kidding me? $100,000? Yes. Hell yeah, I would. $100,000. Yes. Now it's 100,000 US dollars, not 100,000 Australian dollars or Canadian dollars or New Zealand dollars or 100,000 Argentinian pesos. No, or 100,000 Zimbabwean Zimbabwean shillings? No. 100,000 American dollars. Yes. Yes, or give me 100. Actually, you know what? 100,000 pounds sterling. There you go too. I mean, like, are you fucking kidding me? Hell yeah, I'll do it. I don't think he's got that kind of scratch on him right now, though. I don't think he's got it. Hold on one second. What's that? I think you're lying. You tell me. What? Oh, I think you're bullshitting me. If he showed up with 100 G's, you'd slap me if I didn't take it. We're live, so you got to use your words. 500K minimum? All right. Oh, we got a red boy here. I guess we better bring this up real quick. Rekieta Law for $100. Thank you for your support. I would rather open a new Jimmy John's in town. That's fun. Well, there's already there's more than one in town already. I think you're going to be kind of hurting on your you're going to be hurting on your franchise contract there. But yes, $100 to make a sandwich joke. I mean, could at least have done a Denny's joke there, bud. Could have done a Denny's joke for $100. But I appreciate it. In the meantime, we should probably catch up to a bunch of these. Adam says for $2 is a coward. I know. Yep. Jay Wolfenstein is a new member. Thank you, Jay. Ladybug Lisa gifted 1 membership. Yeah. Also, by the way, Nick, since you're here, I know you got copies of Discovery, so you have the body cam with you, homie. You can always just share it. Put it up. Let's watch it. I mean, do you really think you're going to get in trouble for watching it and sharing it? You know you're not. Just come on, share it. Share it with the class. I know you got it. You could do it. Leaks happen all the time, man. Just saying. Just saying. Let's see here. Where were we at? Oh, Thermo for 20 Australian dollar redues. Says busting my super chat cherry and someone actually worth it. And you spelled worth. That's perjury. You're in trouble now. Thank you, Thermo. Yes. Super Wiener for $2. Mr. Rackets, there's been a second felting. Oh, no. President-elect Phil Swift's been a member for 8 months. Says classic Nick R wants to cry and lie about everything. Yes. Shuki Show says, show us Clyde. I don't know if he's going to come in, but Clyde. Come on, Clyde. Oh, hi, buddy. Come here. Come here. Hey, come on. Buddy, come here. Okay, well, I guess it's not coming. Oh, well. Maybe I'll come in later. NJ for $2.79 Canadian says, if the Baldo doesn't fit, you must acquit. Pseudo Snark says, if you mentioned justify so much, I got permission for LCA. I got an A. Brief writing tips, moot court deadline approaches. Does LCA mean like you're like a court, like you get to be a certified legal intern or something? Brief writing tips. Just make sure it's structured. Make sure it's structured, and even the biggest thing when you're writing things, you know what you're trying to say better than anybody else. Assume the person you're reading has no idea what the hell you're trying to convey. Assume they don't understand a word you're trying to say. You have to explain it to them like they're 5. That's probably the best thing you can do. RS Legacy says J-Dam to the Balldobunker. Pretty much. Big Happy says, well, one would think an English major would be able to format a document properly. I don't think Nick wrote it, but it's like, jeez. A little bit of organization, man. That's all we ask for. Base Shaman says, I realized that where Rekieta sees himself, he thinks he's Dewey Cox from the movie Walk Hard, when in reality he's Dewey Cuck. Is that the John C. Reilly one? I kind of forget. Mario Kart 13 says the government definitely planted those kids on him. Yes. Daytwa says, pardon my stupidity. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If a warrant is proved invalid, but illegal contraband is found due to the fraudulent warrant, is there no responsibility ever? I'll take my answer off air. Well, is your argument like if the police come in and they seize my 26 grams of cocaine, but the search warrant's invalid, what happens? Okay, well, generally, you're running the issue of the evidence is suppressed. That evidence from the search is suppressed. So what do? Well, the prosecutors are generally going to have to dismiss the case because that's probably what they've got for you. Well, now what happens? Well, your case gets dismissed. You don't get to go knock on the door. You don't get to go to the police department, hey guys, can I have my cocaine back? No, it's contraband. You don't get your cocaine back. Now, there are times, though, like if they seize guns, you can go and knock on the door and say, hey, can I have my guns back? Yeah, there are times where you can do that. You can get other items back, but you're not going to get your drugs itself back. They can't give you your meth back. They can't give you the meth lab back. They can't do that, but they can give you the other things back. Now, if there's, money or vehicles, they might try to do civil asset forfeiture at that point. And now you're stuck dealing with that, but at least you're out from underneath criminal charges and allows you to focus on fighting those. But civil asset forfeiture is going to be its own set of problems on amongst itself, which it's its own set of bullshit the government does. Oh, is he fucking around with people? All right, well, we'll take care of that. Young Black Economist says you don't need a good argument, just use slurs. Okay, thank you. Well, we'll get to it. Always the winner in the mouth. Always the winner in the brain of no math, Nick. Yes. Nitrim 10 is saying, did they find food mountain left out for the kids? Like Ralph, I left them a big mountain of food. Thought they'd survive for the week. Did I? Oh, I feel like we already circled back through one of these. Stop My Beast, it's Happy Pizza Day. Did I already do this one? I feel like I did. Whatever. J-Rock with 5 memberships. Thank you, J-Rock. J-Rock with 10 more. That makes 15. Thank you, J-Rock, for the support and the generosity out there. Purging the grays off this chat. Nitrim says, there was a talking hog in that courtroom wearing little shorts over his hooves. I thought Ralph was wearing pants. Oh, okay. I mean, if you're not part of, like, the actual parties in court, yeah, you can wear shorts. I mean, I don't think that's that big of a problem. It's summertime. It's hot as hell outside. Sure. Don't wear flip-flops. That's a lot of places will kick you out for that. But yeah, like if you're not going up to the table, yeah, I don't think wearing shorts is a problem. But I was, people are like, "Oh, what should I wear?" I'm like, you could wear jeans and a t-shirt, and that's perfectly acceptable for a courtroom if you're not a party to an action. If you're there just observing. Oh, wait. Oh, I did get a shower text. I did get a shower text. Refund. Aw. Aw. Garrett Pace says, member 14 months says, Nick, your wife would prefer Five Guys. Alrighty. Nick says the silly thing is I'd actually do a lunch with you. Wonder why we haven't. Well, I mean, considering there's like 14 hours and like 900 miles is one of the issues, but one of the other ones is I think you need to get your shit in order before I'd even want to sit down with you, and you really need to work on that. You got a lot of things you need to do out there, Hoss. A lot of them. J Rock gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you, J Rock. Kia Patrick says, have you ever been in a courtroom with a lawyer? Do you even know what motion they submitted? Okay. Yes, I don't know. I've never been to Denny's with a lawyer. It doesn't count when you're there with yourself, I think. What, Nick, you're going to run out of hot water, buddy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, yeah. Me and you did talk before. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your... things change, dude. You fucking cheese slid off your cracker and you did a bunch of bad shit. Like, you know, there ain't no loyalty oaths here, mein Fuhrer. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not sworn a blood oath to you, and not to the fatherland. Nitram says the ban the Baldo fund. He's throwing in, he can throw in. Nick scooping the farms by live reacting to his own body cam footage would be based. Yeah, it'd be a great way to make a shitload of money, too. We're getting the low tax ending, aren't we? No, and I wouldn't want that for anybody either. Nobody. That's a sad ending. Sweet Papa Stovepipe says, I can't get... Well, are you like stovepipe? Like you're like all about like wood burning stoves, or like you're stovepiping like guns? Because stovepipes on like a wood stove are cool, but stovepipes on a gun are like kind of suck. Just curious. I don't know if you can clarify that. Says, I can't get on my head now that the kids are eating through a mountain of SpaghettiOs in the hot tub, so y'all get that sight too. How many cans of SpaghettiOs would it take to fill a hot tub? How many? I wonder. That'd be a lot. Because a hot tub can take what? 1,000 gallons, 1,500 gallons? I don't know. You're saying 2,300 gallons? That's a lot of water. Oh, you're about wood burning stoves. Okay. Fair enough. JDM is saying 2 pallets. I don't know. I'm confused. DF88 says, Nick, blaspheme our Lord and Savior. Repent now while you can. Hell awaits you, buddy. Yeah, Nick, I really, yeah. Please find Jesus. He wasn't just some bro. He was the Son of God. He was not sent here to rule over us. He was not meant to be the king of man. That I know you've made those claims, and I really hope you have disavowed those, because those are not true, and those are not good ones to have. Please don't. I hope those are all jokes. I hope that was funny and weird. I really do. I so hope to God that's funny and weird. Nick Kreuzer says, we used to be bros, Sean. All that happened was marital infidelity, cocaine and ketamine abuse, and other heinous shit. What's the deal? Yeah. How many do I eat daily? I don't know what you're asking about, but 15,000 of them. So I'm not sure. Whatever it is, 15,000. Call Mr. Beast. What's Mr. Beast gonna do? Oh. Oh, wooden Baldos. That. Ooh. Ooh, that's a lot of. That's splintery. That's splintery. No, I figured it out. I figured out what they're talking about. That would hurt. It's like George Washington. He had wooden teeth, so they made a wooden Baldo. Yeah, 2 pallets of SpaghettiOs. Well, you could. You could. Jesus was my homeboy. Well, that's good. Christ is found in every Catholic mass. Go there. He's found in a lot of churches, too. A lot of Christian churches. You can go find him. So Christ ain't king? No, Christ is king. He's just not he's not a king here on earth. Never meant to be a king here on earth. Have you ever seen Jesus at a Denny's? You know, I've never seen Jesus at a Denny's, or even worse, even more important, Moses at a Denny's. You ever seen Moses at a Denny's reading the 10 Commandments? Does he really know which commandments he wants us to follow and which ones he's going to smash? Does he really know? Does he really know when he comes down from the mountain? Something to think about. Something to think about. Johan Naxo says your cheese slid off your cracker. I'm stealing it. Dude, I've heard that. That's something I've heard from a long time ago. I've heard that from a long time ago. Choosy Heretics choose Carnation Revolution now says, sure, Sean, you get a lot of airplane dope for $100K. Yeah, I could. That'd be a lot of. There's a lot of stuff you could do with $100,000. Patty says there are no Protestants in heaven. Okay, I think there are Protestants in heaven, Patty. I think that's a bit much there, boss. Ketamine is fun. Nick didn't share. Oh, Jesus. Jesus probably looked like John Lovitz. I mean, maybe he did. I mean, it's possible. I mean, remember, that had a massive Greek influence in that area for thousands of years, with the Mycenaeans and the Minoans, settling that area. Then there were the Phoenicians, then the Macedonians came through. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there was a ton of Greek influence. The Greeks were all over, and then the Romans came through. So, yeah, he could have looked like John Lovitz a little bit. I think that's very possible. I hope he didn't give his sermons like John Lovitz. That would have been a little awkward. Hold on, what's this on here? What? Oh, it won't fucking load. That's why it's stuck on the mode. Won't be the guy who all people. Nick, I appreciate that. I understand you're trying to talk me off a ledge here, buddy. I'll survive. I promise. I'll survive this. Because if this all goes away, I'll go back to doing my thing. And I'll move on with my life. So, don't understand what you're trying to do here, man. Don't understand. Yes, I eat 50,000 hairy raisins, dude. What the hell's a hairy raisin? Hmm? Who wants a link? No. We're not doing that dumb shit. What? Yeah, I have lots of padding. I'll bounce. Yes. What's he saying? Well, I don't... Here's the neat thing, Dennis. Unlike other people, I don't fucking publish that shit. I don't do that. That's not how I fucking roll. I also don't disclose what people give to me in times of crisis because I don't do that shit either. I maintain confidence. So, no, I'll never tell. When you go on Steel Toe Morning Show, I mean, other than to tell Aaron he's an idiot for talking to the fucking police, I don't know what more to tell him. Like, where we could sit there and have a joke and a smoke, sure, but I think Aaron's probably going to be down for the count for a little while here, so. Yeah. Diatribe says, nice 100. Oh, you're talking to Nick. Yeah, well, when you pay up to Monty. I mean, really, at the end of the day, that probably can get settled up when he gets to the end of the case one way or another. Bro, you need to explain what you just said. Well, I just said what I just said. I don't. Oh, and this is. Hold on here. Wow, I'm getting too far. Is Nick's texting gay shit at me? Yes. Kazuhira Miller says, give me a link. Give me a link, Snake. No. I'm not giving you a link, Snake. No, guys, I'm not putting him on. You are turning down great content. Yeah, but it's not all about content, guys. It's about being responsible. The dog wants a link. Oh. Yeah, no, I'm good. We're good, chat. We're good here. Pseudosnark says, wish as fuck. Thank you. Revan JJ says, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Hold on one second, chat. Tariq Nasheed wants a link. The burned down internet blood sports people are here. Hell yeah, we're getting back in time. All right. So Bebop and Rocksteady, the best villains ever. The best villains ever. The best villains ever here. Says, why didn't they just flush it down the toilet when they first knocked? I mean, because they weren't ready for it. They didn't plan for that. I'm generally why. And even when you develop a plan, it's hard to work your plan under stress. You know, everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. Everybody has a plan And, oh, I know what I'm going to do. We're going to listen to the flight attendant when the airplane crashes. Sometimes it turns into a stampede. Everybody thinks they have a plan if the cops show up looking for their illegal shit. And then they might just sit around a corner and go like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. Or maybe they were really high and they just didn't have a chance to react. Who knows exactly what happened? We don't. Any number of reasons. Insert your reason there. I mean, that's, if you're asking me for what I think, that's kind of how it goes. And I've asked clients before, like, when they were hitting the house, did you try to get rid of stuff? And they're usually like, yeah, I was using. I didn't realize they were there. I was high, or I was sleeping, or I wasn't prepared for that. He's like, Niners Girl's a new member. Thank you. You got 2 little nice puppers on there. Stephen Cooper gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, Stephen. DF88 says Christ is the King of Kings. Yes, he is, and will always be. Daytois says, thanks to the Arcadians and Imholtz for making Minnesota look like degenerate trash. Well, I mean, it's the United States. We're all degenerate trash in one form or another. It's kind of like our national tie. It's like, instead of e pluribus unum, it should be like whatever degenerate trash is the thing. Briaris Hectonshire says, how are the kids going to defend the bullying from the infamy that Nick and Kayla's drugs and whoring will bring upon them? Who knows? And that's going to suck for them. That they're going to have to figure that out. DF88 says, what are you going to do if Martin Luther is in heaven? Also explain why you believe he's in hell. Well, Martian Luther, well, if he's from Mars, I'm assuming they haven't had the chance to get the word of Jesus. So, yes, all those aliens are probably in hell. But Martin Luther, I think God's probably a little pissed off at him for starting the Reformation, but I think at the end of the day, he repented. I'd like to think so. On his deathbed. Nicholas Kreuzer says he is going to return and rule as a king, sovereign and Lord of all. Revelation 19. Yes. But his first trip through, he wasn't meant to. You're eating lunch, meme? Are you going much longer? I don't know. For a little while. What are you eating? Come on. Just mukbang. Amateur Iconoclast gifted 5 subs. Muzzy Skeleton says, for my favorite sandwich blonger, keep it G. Sean. Sonny wants a link. Yes. Johan says, see these $10, Nick? This could have been yours, buddy, but you done goofed. Maybe I got my 5K and you didn't turn into a lunatic. Hope it was worth it. Bella says, no way. He doesn't get to commandeer another stream to spread his BS. He whored out the mother of his kids. You did nothing wrong. He freaked out for nada. Oh, yeah, sure. Mr. Guns WMA scene says, Mr. Guns and Gear dropped a video on Crooks' rifle. That's Thomas Crooks, the Trump shooter. Also, now's the perfect time to steal the Stonies member sponsorship. I know. Now that we know where Aaron is, I'm going to sneak in. It's a power vacuum, chat. We have to take it. But there can only be one. In the traditions of the Highlander, there can only be one. And Tom, I think you're down here. I just saw Tom Gillis Golf Instruction. Hello, Tom. How are you doing? Guys, if you need golf tips and get some golf help, Tom Gillis Golf Instruction is the place to go. Trying to get over the stub hump right now. Give him a subscribe. I know he'd appreciate it. F. Gusto says, Sean, we trace the text. They're coming from inside your shower. That's a good one. That's a good one. April's living in the second home makes much more sense in light of a recently revealed feminine odor conundrum. Yeah. DF88 says, E pluribus baldo. Yes. Soul Souffle says 25 grams is what was left after they started flushing. No, because if they really thought that had been happening, I'm sure they probably would have been charged with evidence tampering, but I don't think that happened at all. Maybe it did. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Because they would have found like extra packaging. Like there probably would have been like torn packaging in the bathroom. There would have been extra packaging laying around. They wouldn't have been able to fully dispose of it because they would have searched for all that crap. So I don't think that's the case. Don't think that's the case. Barnes once on, yeah. Yes, the 5K gets is never coming. Yes, the content creator boot camp is never coming. A lot of it's never coming. Steffi says, I missed an opportunity to link Nick to the Discord. For everyone else, there's still time to join. Yes. Yes, that'd be fun. Alligator News, do you really want sloppy seconds? No. No, I'm good. And Profitless for $5 says, at what point do prosecutors get frustrated with the rounds and rounds of superfluous motions? And how does that play into plea bargaining? Generally, it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, you understand that attorneys trying to do their job. And if they're filing motions that have some level of plausibility, you'll accept it. This one here, like I said, this one is like, it's not really like, there's some serious omissions. But at the end of the day, you have to be a professional about it. I know when I was in the one office I was in, there was a sovereign citizen and he went on a police chase. It was a very low speed chase. It was like 45, 50 miles an hour, but it was still a police chase nonetheless. And he, he doesn't claim, I'm sure he still doesn't believe he tried to run a car off the road, one of the police cars, but he almost did. He filed a bunch of motions, and what did he do? It's like, well, shit, he filed another motion. We'll have to respond to it. That's part of your job. You deal with people. If you don't want to deal with these people, don't charge them. But if you're going to charge them, you have to deal with them. So you have to take the good with the bad. You have to take people as they come if you're going to be on that side of the thing. So that's what I would argue. And I hope that makes sense in that regard. That's how I always looked at it. I never, the defense attorney files a ton of motions. Like, okay, yeah, that's part of the game. It's part of the hustle. So, like I said, I don't think that shouldn't happen here, and I wouldn't expect to have it happen here. And joining us is Meme Copium. Hi, Josh.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, I think Aaron wants on. Can you check your prison pocket quickly? How's it going? What's going on here? The chat's going crazy. What's going on? Oh my gosh.
Mundane Matt wants a link. Yes, all IBS. It's going to be the IBS reunion. Everybody's saying nobody said Jim wants a link. Guys, come on. You're killing me. You guys are slipping.
If Jim wants on, you might have to check the Necronomicon soon, which is very sad.
Yes. But hope for us says when you read the document, you said ketamine was found. That must mean the other unknown substance came back as ketamine. Does that get added to the cocaine weight? Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. Jim said he wants a link. Yes. Okay, now you guys are saying it doesn't work when I tell you to do it, chat. Okay, so when you read the document, you said ketamine was found. Yes, there was ketamine found. That must mean the other unknown. Well, I don't know how sure we are is ketamine. Hopefully, that's a prescription ketamine and not. Remember, like I said, chat, you have to be careful if you're buying pills. There's a good chance it's all fucking fentanyl. So if you get a prescription from a pharmacist, you're safe. Oh,
I was just fixing my focal point.
So the other unknown substance came back as ketamine. No, you're talking about the brown substance?
No, there was a mysterious brown substance.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it came back as ketamine. It might not have came back as detectable. We don't know what the lab report says. They didn't charge any more crimes, so it probably wasn't another drug. Like, who knows what it is? Who really knows what it is? It could have been some burnt residue. I don't know.
Didn't the BCA test come in though?
Yeah, recently, they did.
They did. As at the omnibus hearing, was it just for the cocaine, or was there also for the ketamine and the mysterious brown substance? Or we just don't know the
I'm assuming they sent that all to get tested, but we just don't know what the results are. I mean, here's the thing. If we knew that they were not cocaine, the case would have been dismissed by now. And, there's no drug possession if it wasn't cocaine.
Yeah. And I mean,
that would have taken care of it. And Nick would have been screaming, "It's not cocaine. It's not cocaine. Booyah, booyah, neener.
It would have been a very crazy LARP session if it wasn't coke. What else could it be?
Well, and to be fair, if it was any one of us, we'd be on screen screaming, neener, it wasn't cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they came back and that there's no discussion of that, I think kind of solidifies it was cocaine.
Mm.
So, I think that's what you're trying to say, Hope, for us. I'm trying to see if you said anything else. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I hope I answered the question, because otherwise I don't know what you were getting at. So,
CRP wants on that one. We would need a Necronomicon for.
We need a Ouija board, but I'd have him on. Coach Red Pill, we need you to float. I need you to float over locations in Kiev where the Russians could drop glide bombs. That's your mission tonight. Tell me where the F-16s are in Western Ukraine, Coach.
You think you just need to go to a spooky haunted house and ask him, what are women, Coach? And then you hear it ooh, they're dogs. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
GC says, no one realized when he said the 5K gift would cost him a lot. This was it. This is the gift that keeps on giving. Well, yeah, maybe it was. Yes, one streamer
5K gift for Sean today. You're raking in the chats. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's Chef Red Pill, Sean. Well, you can call him Coach Red Pill. Baldos for everybody on locals. That would be funny. Rip Boogie, though, that would be so funny. John says, "Oh my God, this is cringe." It's all here, John. Here's the neat thing.
Cringe.
It's all. I've always been cringe. That's you're just.
You start believing in cringe streams. You're in one.
I know, that's the thing. People people in my comments are like, "Oh my God, he sucks." It's like, yeah, I know I do. I never claimed I'm good at this. Somebody says Coach posting in 2024. Well, I mean, considering he got killed this year, yeah, it is relevant to Coach post about Coach in 2024. The Ukrainian government fucking murdered him. So, yeah, I think it is relevant. They murdered an American citizen. He didn't do anything about it. So tragic, Rip Boogie 1488, press 5.
Oh my goodness. So I was a bit busy this morning. So today, did you go over the Aaron stuff as well as the new document from Detective
I did the Aaron stuff last night. Once again, I think it's so fucking funny, You can't trust the government, can't trust the cops. I mean, at this point, all we have is bullshit hearsay testimony, according to Nick. So therefore, Aaron's innocent.
Mm-hmm. But I think I saw an excerpt of the report, and the detective is claiming he watched the entire stream. Innocent. I guess he muted himself. So it's just me now.
Yeah. So that's the funny part of this motion, and they bring it up that it wasn't just a 1-minute video that Nick got. They have a full, he fucking got the whole thing, the whole clip. I guess the question, stream.
If I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second and entertain Nick's argument, he would be arguing that they saw it first on the Steel Toe show. So I guess all the cops are just Steel Bros. Yeah. But it looks like from this one, they're saying that he was watching it live, or is that right?
No. So what happened is...
Oh, I see. This is also close.
Okay, yeah. So here, we'll scroll back up and we'll read through it.
Right, okay. This is what I'll probably go over it tonight later on.
Yeah. So you can start reading from there.
Okay, so from defendant argues that the defendant did not watch the entire video and that the defendant published it on his social media on May 21st, 2024. In support of that contention, he submitted a PowerPoint that contains a clip from the video stream. The clip is less than 1 minute long and it does not include any audio. Defense counsel downloaded it at 12:31. Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And then what was also disclosed at the same time was the entire 4 hour and 4 minute long video from the defendant's channel with audio.
It was also 4 seconds. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Somehow they got, and it's saying from the defendant's channel with audio. I don't know specifically what that means, but it sounds like they got it from one of Nick's channels. Which, notice Nick was running around screaming about that. Him and his attorney are screaming about that PowerPoint clip. And it's like, you motherfuckers have had their bigger piece the entire time. And
he privated the stream. Was it the day after, if I remember correctly? Because he probably just like finished the stream past.
Remember, Odyssey was not done right away. Odyssey was still
Odyssey's still up to this day, I think, unless he
maybe he got it from there.
But I'm pretty sure the Rumble was like taken down a week later.
Rumble was up for a bit. I think Nick's BitChute. I think Nick's still on BitChute. It's still there.
Oh yeah, because I looked it up and I thought I sent you the link to it a while ago. It's probably still up there.
You didn't send it to me. It's still there. It was still there when
it's still there on his own channel. So now, of course, the argument is that the cops didn't see the authentic version and they couldn't possibly come to the conclusion he was under any substances because it could have been edited by COG, that rat in UK, in government housing.
But meanwhile,
in reality, it's basically
they had the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Which they knew about.
Unless, of course, I guess, again, to entertain Nick's argument, unless the cops are lying, they're being caught in 4K, and now they're lying.
There is somebody who got caught lying, but his name is not Detective Pomplin.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, and this is where, and I point this out here, this has the appearance of an intentional misrepresentation to the court of what information has been disclosed. That's the very nice way of the prosecutor saying, these guys are fucking lying, Judge. And it's bullshit what they did. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of issues. So I don't think Nick gets even within sniffing distance of this Frank's hearing at this point.
Yeah. Do they clarify how the state of the guns were found in the bedroom in this side as well? I think someone told me that, but like I said, I haven't had a chance.
Well, I mean, they just state we found the guns. They were like, while searching for drugs, we found guns, and the guns were like in places we were allowed to search for drugs. And yes, and it's readily apparent if you find drugs and you find a gun, well, that's more contraband and that's illegal.
Yeah, there was a really
so it's readily apparent. You don't have to do any more work to figure it out. It's a gun and here's drugs. Well, oh shit, these can't be together. That's stuff we're taking.
Yeah. I think Nate the lawyer and Kurt went over this on Nate's channel, and they specifically go through the example and the differences between, say, finding some evidence of tax fraud versus evidence of finding the guns out in the open, or even looking at the serial numbers by removing like a book or something would be different. But that's just not the case in Nick's case.
Yeah. Well, running a serial number would be a search anyway. But just saying this appears to be a firearm, you're not allowed to have this with dope in the house and taking it because it's evidence of another crime, that's fine. Now, could they have gotten a warrant? Sure, they could have. But I'm sure the judge had been like, okay, fine, here's your warrant. But it's like, you didn't need one to do what you did.
Right.
Placerian 17 says, yes, tomorrow, Paul Jensen at Stoney's Garage 2 to 5. Have a safe Labor Day weekend, everybody, at Stoney's Bar and Grill, 158 East Broadway Street, Rockville, Minnesota. Take care, everybody.
Do you remember that Stoney's review that I sent you?
Yes.
By Dr. Richard Ape?
Yes.
So they messaged me, actually. They're like, imagine I was watching your stream and then someone was reading out my comment. But apparently they've transitioned. So now it's Dr. Rachel Ape.
Dr. Rachel Ape.
Not to misgender the good doctor.
Judge Fisher wants on. Oh, I want to know, like, what kind of kegels do you do, honey, where you could squeeze a bottle like that? That's what I want to know.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
Judge Fisher seemed quite nice when we watched the April hearing.
Most judges are nice. They aren't assholes. I mean, generally speaking. Now, after that whole like show us your tits and all that stuff, where she's like, I'm sure that's going to probably sour her when she has to deal with this case ever again.
So here's a question from a layman, I suppose. Do you think that the shenanigans that happened in the court, particularly Ralph showing up to Minnesota, and then the intrusions into the Zoom calls, are more or less likely to make the court open for video recording from a distance, like, you know, like live streaming from Nick's hearing or next court case? Because I would assume that the judge maybe saw like the room was full up because it was only seating 19, and maybe a courtroom will have more space. But it seems like this would be a good reason in support of Josh Moon's argument.
Yes,
that,
keep all the retards out of your courthouse.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like that would be the case.
I mean, it would.
My point of view.
It would. And remember, though, I mean, we run into the issues of Minnesota has those restrictions. But we also saw cases like the Derek Chauvin trial where the court said we can do whatever the fuck we want. But yes, when it comes to the trial itself, yeah, recording it would make a lot of sense. And, you know, but we probably won't until we get to that point. So for every fucking pretrial, there's going to be a gaggle of morons at the courthouse.
I can only assume it's going to get worse because the ominous was always going to be a short one.
Yeah. I mean, it probably will be, but I mean, like, I don't think Ralph's coming up every fucking time. I don't, you know, how many farmers are going to show up every time? I mean, by the end of this, it's going to be like one person sitting there in the back.
Right.
Because not everybody can show up all the time, and after a while, it gets kind of boring.
Well, I assume that the one that people really want to see is when or if the body cam gets introduced into the court. Would they play that live, or would it just be entered as an exhibit? I assume it'd be entered.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends what you're trying to show. There might be times where you'd want to show the. I mean, like, depends if like you're in trial and something needs to happen. You could show the body cam. I mean, you'd have to explain what evidentiary value it does to have that and why it's important to show it. And you could be like, I want to show exactly where we found the drugs, what we found. I mean, like, there might be times where you could show that, but you generally wouldn't just submit it as an exhibit without playing it or publishing it. You could do that. You don't have to publish your exhibits to a jury, but generally you do because you want them, when you do that, you're like, I want you to see what we're looking at. I want to show you what to focus on. So you wouldn't just say like
50 hours, so they wouldn't do the whole thing anyway.
But you wouldn't just be like, you know, here's the tape, you know, go fuck yourself later. You wouldn't want to do it that way because they might focus on the wrong thing, and you're like, no, you want them to focus on like X, and they're focusing on Y. You don't want to leave it to them. But as far as what's going on with Aaron, I mean, yeah, it meets the statute, but I think that statute is horribly fucking worded. I mean, that is a very, very, very broad, you know, revenge form. But hey, it is what it is. There,
but
Aaron was an idiot for talking.
That didn't really show anything.
Well, no, I mean, and here's the thing: people are asking me, Gino and Keanu's testimony that Gino got this, and I saw it on his phone, and I saw a picture of Kayla naked. That's testimony. That's evidence. That's enough to get a conviction. A witness's statements on the stand, their testimony is evidence, chat. It's up to the jury to weight it and determine if they give it any credibility and how much weight they give it if they do find it credible. But that's enough to convict someone. And you'll see this if you sit through voir dire, you know, especially the prosecutor will bring this up. Would you agree that a person on the stand provides testimony that's evidence? Would you agree there's times where you could convict on that alone? And, you know, sometimes a juror would say, well, I don't think so. Well, let's say there's a robbery and you don't have any other, like, I got robbed. You know, the person said they were robbed. Well, they didn't, you know, there's no camera. Sometimes there's nobody else around. Would that still not be enough? And then that's where the person's like, okay, I could see there's times where testimony alone is enough to sustain a conviction. So there could be enough there. And then I would say Aaron's hemming and hawing bullshit answer is also enough because the jury's going to say, okay, well, you're full of shit.
Would I be right?
That's even if it gets that far.
A compounding factor, and I thought Aaron was on probation from a domestic or something with his ex-wife, and he was supposed to be on good boy behavior for the next year. So this coming up now seems like a really bad thing for that.
I mean, yeah, he was on probation. He got put on probation, but this is something that predates him getting placed on probation. So, generally speaking, you're not going to get, because like if you committed a bunch of crimes before and then you're on supervision with a court, well, let's say it took them 2 years to figure out who I was and they indicted me for a crime and I'm on probation right now. That's not fair to me that the court's going to revoke my probation saying, you committed a new crime. No, I didn't. I committed a crime back then. If I did a new crime now and actually committed the offense now, then a court would be in its rightful, realm to punish me.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. One thing we might not be considering, though, is that what if the jury's all toe bros?
There's not going to be all toe bros. The internet is not that big. People don't know. This is a big deal for all of us in this little world, but outside of this, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody really does. I mean, with the internet, like most people, a bunch of people might know who Mr. Beast is. That's because their kids know who Mr. Beast is. But otherwise, nobody really gives a shit about all our little communities outside of our little communities. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah, that's why whenever a YouTuber runs for like a political something, that they very rarely get any traction.
Yeah. Raven says, "Can someone tell me what the toe bros are?" So toe bros are people who are fans of the Steel Toe Morning Show. That's Aaron Imholtz's radio show that he used to do, and it's now what he does on YouTube every morning. And he used to do it with April.
Yeah, I haven't really seen those episodes before. The only time I've ever seen really Aaron's clips is when someone sends me something, when he's mentioning me or something like that. There was a really good funny one where he's like, apparently he watches my show before going to therapy, which is hilarious. This is like, Mrs. Steinberg, you got to see this meme copium guy. And he's like, tell me more. This is $200 an hour.
It calms me down. It's where Aaron goes to stim.
Yeah.
Steel Toe's popular in town. Rackets is in, if I recall. And sure, I get it. Aaron is popular in central Minnesota, but like, how popular do you really think he is? Because remember, out of like, how big is St. Cloud County?
I thought it was like 20,000 or 10 to 20,000 people, right? I mean, is that wrong? Or is that Candy Ojai?
No, the Candy Ojai is a little smaller.
Okay. It's pretty small.
St. Cloud is a city. Well, St. Cloud has 68,000 people in it. It's in Stearns County. Stearns County is 158,000 people. So you're going to find a lot of people have no idea who Aaron is. You're not going to find, like, Aaron's not going to find people on the jury. It's kind of like when people, they think they'll get Second Amendment people on their juries if they do, like, they build a machine gun and the feds arrest them or something like that happens. It's like, no, you're not going to find those people on your jury. The odds of that are infinitesimal.
I mean, that's what jury selection is for anyway, right? Like, they're trying to get like a diverse group of people.
But
I'd imagine most toe bros are actually men. So, and they usually a jury would be like 50% women, I'd imagine. Right?
Yes.
Just because the population is 50%.
Yeah. But even then, though, the issue is the people, it's just, even if they were like secret, they're going to help you along and lie to get on the jury. The odds of that are going to be super small anyway. So, a jury of 12 Somali ex-pirates. Yes.
You never stop being a pirate, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, yes. It's like a Marine. You're always a Marine. Did you see Aaron's, have you seen Aaron's complaint yet?
I have not actually. I think I read maybe just the top page. That's about it. I wasn't really going to cover Aaron's stuff, but I guess maybe I'll combine it into a stream tonight.
Well, it's worth looking at. It's worth looking at. Well, it is, and I mean, it's one of these things where every time we get documents in one form or another, we get things confirmed to us in a roundabout way. So it's just like all those transcripts.
This would be the first legal confirmation that there was, I guess, you could call infidelity in the marriage, because Kayla was sending these images to Aaron. Which is something that Nick has never admitted to.
Yes, this admits there's the polycule. This admits it's the four-way fucking suck snort coke fest. So he got charged with the non-consensual dissemination of images, revenge porn as a felony, could face up to 3 years imprisonment. And then he's also facing misdemeanor revenge porn. He can face up to 364 days in jail. So there are two options for that, okay? And the main difference is with the intent to harass the person in the image. So the main parts of this are you disseminate the image of another person who's depicted in a sexual act or their intimate parts are exposed when they're identifiable and without the person's consent. So
they'll be identifiable because of those Citizen Kane titties, with the rosebud. But
multiple
with the intent to harass the person depicted.
Yeah.
Not sure that's the intent, though. I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, that's where I think there's going to be an issue. I don't know how that's going to go, because I'm sure. And apparently, Keanu went on and said something like, "I don't think he meant to do it," which I'm sure would be very helpful for Aaron if it ever got to trial. But from there, it's going to be a question of what does the jury believe and who do they believe, and who did what and what's Aaron's intention in this. Now, this is where they could use Aaron doing all the screaming and hollering to say at that point he clearly wasn't a nice guy. So there are things where Aaron's screaming and acting like a loon could be used against him.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's described Aaron as a nice dude. I think most people's words have been the shiniest turd in the bowl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think I said that. I think I said that when I was on with Kino Casino. He's the cleanest turd in the toilet.
Although he did give me $10 the other night, so the toe stock is going up, I have to say.
Yeah, no, I mean that doesn't mean. I mean, yeah, he's the nicest guy out of the bunch. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. So on July, and this goes back to July 17th. So this goes back to July, when they took a report of an unauthorized dissemination of images from KR. Now, because everybody's abbreviated here, and fully identified in police report. Yeah. Called in report, Aaron sent another individual a nude photo without consent. So on the 19th, Kayla, Nick, and April all fully showed up and met with the cops, which, once again, I was just pointing out yesterday, you run around screaming, you can't trust the cops. They all lie, and it's all a conspiracy against me. You turn around and go, oh, by the way, can you guys help me out?
Wouldn't the cops be working against him if there was a conspiracy?
Well, there is that too. Yes, I would agree, but somebody else.
Wait a minute. When you see a photo on a cell phone, the pixels are compressed. Are you sure it's the same photo?
Yep. There's compression.
You have to pinch and zoom.
I think the pictures are invalidated. And there's also
color grading and things you can edit.
As Nick says, all these people in these reports are lying. They're concerned citizens. Okay, well, I guess Aaron's innocent then, based on the logic we've been having drilled into us for how many months now. Aaron is innocent. Aaron didn't do nothing wrong. He a good boy.
Well, I wouldn't be making that argument, but
well, no, I'm not making that argument either. I'm just saying, based on the rules that were laid out to me by another person, that the cops lie, the police lie, these people lie. Okay, well, can't believe this report there. Now, my argument last night was, see how retarded that argument sounds when it's not applied to your own fact pattern. You apply it to someone else's. It sounds utterly fucking moronic. And I'm sure that point went over someone's head completely. But anyways, Kayla reported over the course of several months that Nick and April and Aaron communicated on Signal. The purpose of the app is to keep things private amongst each other, and all agreed nothing would be shared to others. Kayla sent nude photographs via Signal. So it's like, okay, so we're acknowledging we're all doing stuff.
There was a wise man out there once. His name escapes me at this moment, but he said, you will never find nudes of me or my wife, even, and especially in a digital format, because that stuff always leaks out. It always gets out there. So that's why they don't take nude photos. Again, I can't remember who said it, but it was very, very good advice.
Yes.
Only they followed it in this instance, and it could have been all averted.
Yes. And that said, though, for Kayla, there's going to be issues too, because, I mean, they took the, there's the picture of her and Nick, being butt ass naked out in Hito. Now, does that mean that's a justification that she was okay with her tits being shown out there? No.
That's an interesting argument.
You can make an argument like, apparently you don't mind, like you're willy-nilly with your pictures. Sorry. They say that in April. What?
I was just thinking, do you think the Locals Ask Wednesday is going to make it into the transcript?
The Locals Ask Wednesday? It could. Yeah. It could be part of that too.
Exhibit 1, just entitled "Bottle in Place It Shouldn't Be."
Yes. So in April there was a break. I think it's funny in April. I'm sure. Yes, multiple things were in April. Just not this April. Not the April we're thinking.
That's the name of the biopic for the entire thing. It's going to be coming in April.
Yes, in April. Yes. There was a breakdown of the defendants started talking negatively about Nick in April on an online talk show. In May, he started talking negatively about Kayla as well. At the end of April or beginning of May, Aaron started sharing details of the relationship on the talk show. Okay. On May 27th, the defendant had GB, that's Gino Biscani, fully identified in police reports on his talk show. During the show, he sent Gino a text, which was a nude photo of Kayla. She did not consent to this. Now, this is where, when they talk about it, is this really harassment? Or is he showing off like, hey, check out the chick I was banging? Or any number of ways that's going to be interpreted. I don't know if there's enough that get around beyond a reasonable doubt here, but maybe they're charging him with the felony to give him the misdemeanor. Who really knows?
I know people memed about it a bit, but this honestly seems like a bit of a copyright issue more than anything.
Well,
I mean,
so Nick reported the issues with
Share these, obviously.
Yeah, Nick said they're using Signal, which, in May, the defendant started talking about the relationship online. Then he sent Gino a photo. And that's funny because I already mentioned that part here. April reported there were pictures shared via the Signal app. She found out on July 12th the defendant sent a photo to Gino on May 27th. April texted both Gino and Keanu, fully identified, and who both confirmed that Gino received the nude of Kayla on May 27th. April looked at the defendant's phone records, which confirmed that he had sent a picture to Gino on May 27th at 9:23 a.m., which would have been during his talk show that day. And then they get to it, and they
shows in the morning. Yeah, I can see this.
Yeah, well, it's because it's the Steel Toe Morning Show at that point.
Yeah.
A review of his show from May 27th shows that Aaron and Gino are participating. The two of them talk about Kayla and her tattoos. The defendant is seen scrolling through his phone, and it looks like he has taken a screenshot and tells Gino to look at his phone. Gino looks at his phone and says, "I like tattoos more than I thought." And then Aaron responds, "Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?" Kayla is then talked about in an explicit manner. This statement alone here, if we're trying to argue intent, that doesn't look like intent to harass and do all that stuff. But
he's just pining over a lost love. It's happens every day.
Yeah. Well, but remember, there's also, like I said, all that video of Aaron just going off. So that's not going to help him. There are some good things, but there's going to be a bunch of bad things. Gino already confirmed he received the nude photograph of Kayla on the 27th. And he described Kayla as standing completely nude with her breasts fully exposed. He further described a tattoo under Kayla's left breast in the photograph. Later, law enforcement... What's that?
Rosebud.
Yeah.
That's what later. Okay.
Rosebud.
Yes.
And later they are able to...
Sorry,
No. You go ahead.
I was going to say, it's kind of funny because if she didn't have the tattoos, I guess you could make an argument for how can you identify this as truly this person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tattoos are very identifiable and very personal. They were able to confirm with Kayla that she did have that tattoo under her left breast. Gino said he deleted the photograph after. I'm sure he said he did. Keanu stated she saw the photograph on Gino's phone. Gino received a text from Aaron, which was a photograph of Kayla nude. Keanu described Kayla as standing completely nude with both breasts fully exposed. Said Kayla was identifiable by the photograph, and she knew it was Kayla based on the photograph. Keanu confirmed that Gino deleted the photograph. Now,
didn't even put it in his folder for later. Very sad. Couldn't have been that good.
Now, I had thought at some point through all the Chrissy Mayer stuff or going to Vegas and all those things, Nick had met Keanu and Gino, and like Nick and Kayla had done that. So I thought, I'm surprised she wasn't able to say like, yeah, I recognize her because I've interacted with her in real life. But kind of learned something new. Learned something new today.
I thought there was the comedy show they did, right? Like I thought that was in Minnesota. There.
Well, there was the Minnesota comedy show, but there was also like they went to Vegas and they did, other stuff. So don't really know. So eventually, law enforcement spoke to the defendant, and already there's a problem. Why are you speaking to the fucking police? Do not speak to the cops. Do not speak to the cops. Do not speak to the cops. He acknowledged a relationship and using Signal. Okay. So he had access to all those pictures. However, he stated he did not recall ever sending or receiving a nude photograph of Kayla. He later said he did not want to definitively say he never received a nude photograph, but cannot recall being sent one. The defendant acknowledged using Signal. Well, it's like, dude, like they're not retarded. They're gonna figure it out what you did.
He said this to the cops without his lawyer present.
Yeah,
that's a bad move.
Yeah, especially when you give all this hemming and hawing and, well, did I say that? I'm not really sure. Maybe I did, or maybe I'm not 100% sure I did not do it. Don't play those games. Just don't talk to them. And then, yes, you can remove this whole thing right here. You can go, you can get rid of it. It can go away. You can delete it. Take advantage of it. So they say, additionally, the defendant resides in Stearns County, although additionally his audio studio is in Stearns County. And he was in his studio when he sent the photograph. The defendant is an online talk show where he streams multiple times a day leading up to the offense. And since this incident occurred, the defendant oftentimes talks about KR and or things between himself, Kayla, Nick, and April. Comments made during these live streams are concerning, especially in light of his incident. The state believes the defendant will not stop and continue to harass Kayla unless and until conditions are set. So they want conditions set by the court when they show up. Given that the state is requesting a body-only bench warrant to be issued. So they're asking that there's a warrant out for his arrest. The complaint has reason to believe it does believe all the information is true and correct. And then it's signed for by a court officer who, remember, they always lie. Liar, 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 pants on fire. And then Carrie Dolan, who's another county attorney or prosecutor there. I'm sure he's going to make fun of her for not being an operated keyboard too or something. But, yeah. And that's where Nick is right now. Okay. And I just think, and like I said last night, just the whole thing reeks of chicken shitness that you're like, please help me, the steel toe man. What do we do? Oh, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's obviously like a spite lawsuit. No one's really been harmed or endangered here. It's just
I get it.
Use whatever you can.
You wouldn't sign your NDA. You wouldn't sign your NDA, so here you are. So that's the case. That's if you want to know what you're looking at.
Okay. Yeah,
that's really
very informative.
Yeah, and I mean it's nothing to it. There's nothing to it, but I think it's a bunch of bullshit. But
well, you shouldn't share nude photos in the first place, and if you get nude photos, you shouldn't share them with other people. That's just like not even for a legal reason. It's just a morally shitty thing to do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and it's yes, and also don't broadcast yourself online. Like in recording yourself, documenting yourself committing crimes. I mean, really, this is
you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Don't document your fucking crimes, regardless of what they are. Don't document yourself breaking the fucking law. Don't. It never ends well.
We got this weird.
Never ends well.
There we go. It was so close. We were pinching and zooming the stream.
Yes. Allegan News says, if you cut your coke at 50-50, what chargeable mass? It depends on the state. In Ohio, there was an issue where a court of appeals ended up agreeing that a guy was allowed to challenge the actual chemical composition of the cocaine and the actual mixture ratios. And that was the only amount of cocaine he was charged with. So if it's like half baby formula and baby powder and, all kinds of shit you shoved in there, well, then you're only guilty for that much cocaine. That went up the chain, and that became a problem here in Ohio. And immediately the prosecutor's like, no, we're not going to let you do that no more. We're fixing that. And it's a mixture now of cocaine or cocaine, cocaine and cocaine accessories. So the idea you can just mix stuff and not be in trouble is kind of rough nowadays.
Yeah. I saw that speaking of the cocaine accessories, so I saw in the parts of the Detective Pomplom's response, it said that they did find a metal pan. Was that in the kitchen or the master bedroom? Do you know? So I'm kind of curious.
It was a mental pan. So it wasn't metal.
It was is it what?
The prosecutor called it a mental pan, which means she lied and committed perjury. Therefore, Nick wins.
The typos, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, they strike again. They can't keep getting away with it.
No, they can't. It's the injustice of the illiterate. We can't stand it anymore, chat. Got a couple more we need to catch up on here real quick. Itchy Nissan 123 says, I pay to watch Nick do community service just like Boogie, picking up trash in the hot sun with his heat allergy. Well, I mean, that's coming. Well, yeah, over. But guys, that's not going to happen either. Sorry to burst your bubble, but that's not happening either. Saitokata for £5 sterling. The King Sterling says, looking forward to memes review of Barnes' inevitable response.
Is it? Surely they're not going to do
something Constitution.
Surely they're not going to double down on this again. I think everyone's making fun of them. There seems to be no basis for what they're saying at all. Surely they're just going to cut their losses and run.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. The Chuki Show is saying, is it unusual for Aaron to have someone file an appearance for his warrant when he hasn't turned himself in yet? Not particularly. I mean, if he's already hired an attorney, like that attorney could go immediately and file an entry of appearance. That's not totally crazy, but hold on, let's pull it up and see what's been filed.
I heard that people were suggesting that Aaron was laying low because he wanted to, have the weekend not in jail.
That's totally weekend. Yeah. So here you go. Yes, he's got his. Yeah, we're gonna show it. So here you go. It's certificate of representation. He's got an attorney. There's a demand for discovery. So, yeah. But yes, I guarantee you he wants to sit out for the weekend. Everybody does. It's a long weekend. Nobody wants to sit in jail for a couple of days.
Everyone just wants to, grab a cold one at Stoney's in Rockville, Minnesota.
Yes. Well, the funny thing is, and this is something I've explained to clients before, when you have a warrant out for your arrest, your warrant never catches up to you at the best time. Like, nobody ever gets arrested and it's like, oh, their life is all in order and they can go sit in jail for like 2 weeks at a time. Like they're trying to get to work. Their kids are in the car. Like any number of things going on where you don't need to get arrested, but it happens. And it leads to a ton of bad results. So
could have a pie cool on the windowsill. Anything could be happening.
Yeah. But hopefully if Aaron's laying low, he could do that and turn himself in next week. It just means he's gonna have to basically stay home because if he's out and about walking around, the cops go, oh, that's Aaron, he's got a warrant, they can immediately arrest him.
I could do camping or something for the weekend. I didn't know there was a thing. But I guess if he's filed something, then that's not the case.
Yeah, if he's filed something, but also it just wouldn't work. Allegan News says, I'm sure the cops' drug recognition included online training, not in-person training, or recognizing things online. Yeah, I'm sure. Like they've learned, like, how's a person looking on video? What do they look like they're doing? And yeah, Nick looks like somebody who's on coke. I mean,
yeah, you don't need to be a rocket surgeon to figure out what was going on that stream.
Stephen Bravo's a new member. Thank you, Stephen. And he gifted 1 membership. Thank you very much for the support. And Cyberchud says, could it affect the judge's opinion on your child custody case if you say got into a big boxing match with a man who's the same height as a 4th grader?
Well, then no fight happened, so I guess it's purely academic, this question.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure the big issue is like how much you got paid to do the fight. So, I mean, I understand what they're getting at there, but
it's just a sport, right? If you're just
but they might. Gym. Yeah, but I don't know if they'll take him out after this or whatever they'll do. Who knows? And then Scarebro says, "Sean is fat. Sean is fat. Nick let another man sleep with our wife. Is charged with a drug felony. Had his kids taken away and torpedoed yet another career. Maybe mommy? You mean mommy? Maybe mommy and daddy could buy.
We spell mummy with a U.
Yeah, mummy.
Mommy, daddy.
Mama. Maybe he could buy a 4th career. Imagine trying to alpha dog with fat jokes. Yeah, well, when you got what you got, that's when you're reaching down in your ammo bag and you're pulling out, the stuff you didn't want before. That's kind of where you end up.
Well, thanks, Granddad.
No, I'm talking about like your quiver full of jokes, and you finally grab the jokes that you're like, I don't want to use. They suck. Well, that's all you're doing. You're using the shit ones.
Look, every quiver can't be full.
Every quiver can't be full. Robert, you're saying, how about if Aaron only showed the picture from his phone and didn't send it to the other guy? Would that be illegal? What? Oh, if Aaron showed his picture from his phone and didn't send it to the other guy, would that be illegal? Okay, so I think what you're saying is like if he held it up to the camera and said, hey, take a look at this.
Obviously,
I bet that. Let's say they're in the back room talking, kind of like we're doing right now.
That'd be a lot harder to prove.
Well, no, I mean, if there's a proof of it, that's one thing. And I would argue the eyewitness testimony would support it. It might be a couple of days before you can get it back down. I don't know how it would be attached, but Nick's virtue signal to everyone against this type of stuff at the same time. He's doing exactly what he rails against. And what a fraud he can get bent.
I think there was like a year or 2 gap between when he was actually opining about all these morals. There was a decline. It took a while.
So not every arrow has an N. Everybody winds up in jail except Ethan, Ralph, and Chris Chan. Well, I
can't keep getting
away
with it.
That's how the world goes. Yeah. Well, Justin's saying, well, no, showing is not disseminating. Well, no. I'm saying for Aaron, if Aaron showed it, that would count as like the disseminating of it. Gino can't. Gino's not in fucking Minnesota, so it doesn't matter. Gino's in where the hell do they live? Do you know? Chat.
Do you guys don't even know who Gino is. I'm sorry.
Gino and Keanu live in New York City, right?
Do they? I thought they were all in Minnesota together.
Yeah, they live in New York City.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't. Gino would be under New York's laws. If he's not in Minnesota, he wouldn't be.
Straight state lines? Oh my goodness.
Yes, they cross state lines. Oh no. Like Kyle Rittenhouse.
No.
Jamie Moodley says Nick's Jack Murphy streams make this so much better. Yeah.
It's like poetry.
In hindsight. Yeah. Yep. Like I said, guys, read the Greek. The Greek plays. They love talking about hubris. So if Keanu and Keanu and Gino are in New York, guys, the Minnesota law has no bearing at that point. But if I'm Aaron and I'm in Minnesota and I show this to Josh, like, hey, check it out.
Oh, I can see your side. It's crazy.
Yes, that would be me disseminating the image under Minnesota law. So that's how that would probably go. If I had to guess, that's how they would put it together. SM says, I always thought revenge porn was posting someone's pics to the internet or sending him vindictively to harass. Yeah, that pretty much is the definition of revenge pornography. I don't see anything here. Even the statement, here's the the thing for the state in Aaron's case. The statement they have Aaron using is very exculpatory. He's like, yeah, check out what I got. That's a very exculpatory statement. Your boy didn't do too bad, did he? That is a very exculpatory statement because you're not establishing the intent that you're claiming was there. Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
What is the argument that Kayla didn't want to have these further disseminated? Because if she was sending them freely, I know we talked about a little bit earlier when they're talking about the hedonism photos. If they're using signals so that their messages are protected, then hypothetically there's no copy of an image of a message from Kayla saying do not share this with anyone else. And if that's not there,
they're going to say they all verbally agreed to it. They're all going to say they verbally agreed to it. So,
yeah, it seems like it's going to be a really tricky one to actually prove if it goes to trial. But who knows? You never know what happens, right?
Well, I think that's going to be a very tough thing for them to deal with. And the other problem is, I mean, you have to when you put a witness up on the stand, Nick or Kayla, they're going to have to talk about all this stuff. So all this crap that's in here, we had the polycule and we were in the cover and whatever Nick's weird name for himself was and all those things they have going on.
Slanesh's agent.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, because that's the thing. I don't think Aaron made that up. Those sound pretty legit about what happened there.
Yeah, it seems like very on brand for Nick and his affiliation with 40K and stuff. It is interesting to note that when the pictures of all the good Space Marines started disappearing from his room is when the chaos started to seep in. That's very interesting to me.
Pie Susan saying, if Kayla published a photo anywhere, the photo's not revenge porn according to the statute. And that becomes an issue of depending on, is that publishing where she sent it to her, it's publishing count when you send it to your lover? Because that one, I don't think that's what the point of it is, that you turn around and then disseminate it to harass that person you were in a relationship with. So do you understand what I'm getting at, Susan? Because you have to think about it kind of like as steps. When it's boyfriend, girlfriend, and they're sending each other stuff back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, technically they're publishing it because they're sending it to each other. But then basically the entire statute would be invalidated because you're saying, well, it was published already when Kayla sent it to Aaron, therefore there could be no crime. I don't see that working that way. It doesn't work at that point.
I'm not sure if this is a good legal train of thought or not, but particularly when it comes to cases with things like when you're creeping on someone, right? Like doing upskirts or something. Like there's if you have an expectation of privacy or that not to be shared, then that leads to some of the protections that you have. For example, if you go to the beach and you get a picture of you in the bikini, it's not crazy because you expect people to see you. But if you've got a cell phone up someone's skirt, obviously that's illegal because you have an expectation that people aren't going to be doing that.
Yes.
So
and
these might
I don't know if this is
because there would be an expectation of privacy between the two if there's any.
Yeah, there would be. And that's kind of the issue here. And Keanu, it's not, when I mean published, I don't mean in a magazine. I mean, publishing it means you're putting it up somewhere. So if you go on to Reddit and you put, a picture of yourself up there on Reddit, you've published it. It could be a picture of you, just sitting there on a bench. And it could be all blurry. It's not in spec. The shutter speed's wrong. It looks like garbage. That's still publishing a photo. Publishing doesn't mean formally done, or there's a camera guy there and he's got his little light meter and he's fabulous, yes, and there's none of that. It's just publishing. It means you're putting it out there in that regard.
Strangely enough, if the arrest hadn't happened, I have a feeling that they were actually moving towards publishing these things on the internet for real, because Nick was starting to talk about the virtues of OnlyFans and how it's going to be a perfectly normal thing in the future, and that it won't be strange for your kids to see your mum on the internet.
I
wonder if that's where it would have went eventually.
That
of course, it's just all conjecture, but
that's conjecture. Yeah, I mean,
yes, I'm not saying it's.
I know. I'm just saying like that. You're getting into like the if we're a fifth, we'd all be fucked up by now territory. But no, I hope that makes sense, Susan. Like I said, going in between your parties, that wouldn't publish it. It wouldn't work that way. Because otherwise you could never then be charged with revenge porn because you're like, it's already been published to that private party. You know, that's not how it's meant to be in that regard. Gnosis, read the Talmud. I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a miss.
I'm going to pass there. Yeah, Pi Susan says that's not what publishing means. I understand. Me and you, I'm trying to explain to you, if a boyfriend and girlfriend are sharing their pictures, that's not publishing. If that were to be counting as publishing, then the entire statute would be invalidated. Vince Griswold says Kayla is so frightening and repulsive that any sharing of her nude images would have to be considered a crime.
It's a bit rude.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
She's not that bad. Come on, guys. People, whenever I do like a fit check or something, everyone's like, this is a 1. This is a 1 out of 10. Pointy elbows would not bang.
I mean, like, you could say,
right.
like,
now.
Yeah, Laura Loomer, sure, I'll agree with you. But, like, yeah. Commando Kodiak says, will you don the mantle of law pope? No, I don't want the title. I will not accept the title. I will burn the hat and burn the law of papacy before I would ever accept it.
Ooh.
Jay says that they
parasite for
if they destroyed Jay says that they destroyed the evidence. Well, at the time, I don't think you could consider that Gino deleting it. I don't think you could argue that's destroying evidence. They're getting rid of something they feel like they weren't supposed to have. How can they prove it was sent? Remember, testimony from a witness is evidence. So Gino could come in and testify. Yes, Aaron sent me a picture and it was of Kayla. And it was Kayla naked. I know who Kayla is. It had her face. I recognized Kayla's face. And then it showed her naked. See her boobs. And then I could tell that was her because there was a tattoo from where I could see things. That's evidence. That is evidence. Keanu could come in and say, I saw it, and here's what I saw. And, presumably she's going to say the same thing. But let's say she says, well, no, I saw Kayla and she was wearing a sweater in it. Well, now there's going to be issues of, who would you believe? But Keanu's going to come in and say, yes, I saw it. Kayla was naked. I recognize her face. I know who she is. It showed her boobs. There was a tattoos on her, and I could tell it was her. That's evidence. That is evidence. It's eyewitness testimony. Think about it, for example, if you got robbed on the street by a guy and he shoved a gun in your face, said, give me your money, and then took off running and disappeared in the night. There were no cameras around, nobody else around. Your eyewitness testimony, let's say they catch the guy later, and you can be like, yep, that's him. You would have to go into court and say, that guy tried to rob me. The idea is, like, you wouldn't want to be sitting there saying, well, nobody else saw it, therefore it didn't happen, or you don't have any other proof it happened. No. It's about the credibility of the testimony. A jury could sit there and weigh Keanu's testimony, could weigh Gino's testimony, and whoever else testifies, and they could weigh that testimony and assign credibility to it. I'm sorry, they'd assign credibility to it, and it's how you would do it if you were just sitting there listening to it. Who do I believe? Who sounds more credible? Okay. And then how much weight, how much trust am I going to put in what they're telling me? That's how that would work. So you don't need the picture itself. That picture's gone. Although technically it's on a phone, it might not actually be gone. It might be retrievable. We don't really know. So just something to think about there. Remember, evidence can be testimony, or it can be physical items. Evidence can be a lot of things, chat. I've
got the whistle ready for the.
Well, hold on. Oh, Keanu says, I understand the meaning law. I'm just like, I didn't know if you did, but I wasn't like, here's the thing. That's not a dumb question. That's actually a fairly valid question. Because, like, what does that mean? What would that mean? How would that apply? So, yeah, I wasn't necessarily saying you were the only one who had that thought. I'm sure other people probably did too. It wasn't a dumb question at all.
And a follow-up question to Keanu: 1 to 10 on the rosebud tits. Purely academic question.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying it was more like a photo Aaron took, but I don't know. Oh, presumably it probably was a photo Aaron took, although
no,
maybe it was a photo
of Nick, like a mirror selfie or something.
Yeah, or she took a selfie, or well, I would argue at that point it doesn't really matter who took it. It's that he had it on his phone and he shared it, and they're claiming he did that to harass Kayla, but it doesn't sound like he did it to harass Kayla based on the statement they have. The statement of Aaron is very exculpatory in that regard. Although, yes, the streams of Aaron afterwards, when he's sitting there hollering, yeah, that can lead to the idea that it was intent to harass. Just can't tell.
It wasn't a selfie. Interesting.
Yeah, was not a. Oh, who's saying it wasn't a selfie?
Keanu said it's not. It was not a selfie for sure.
Oh, okay.
But with the wording of Kayla sent him a photo, I would assume that it wasn't something that Aaron had. Now, maybe Aaron took it and she sent it to him later or something like that. Of course, that could happen. But the wording of it kind of makes me think that she took it herself or Nick took it.
Yeah, but that's where it turns into. Well,
and like phone time.
I think. Here's my point. I think arguing who took the picture doesn't really matter.
That's true.
Yeah, that's more of the issue. That's not a relevant concern. I mean, yes, you might want to know for the sake of understanding the entirety of the story. It doesn't matter for the sake of what we're looking at. And Pi Susan says placed online, sure. And that's where we have to figure out placed online. Well, does placed online meaning when he was talking about it? Can they stretch it to also what Aaron did on screen? Sure, we didn't see it, but Kayla's now being talked about. Does that count as online? I think that's a horrible stretch of the statute, but maybe that's what the prosecutor's looking at. I don't know. Certainly Aaron's going to have to get an attorney and they're going to have to figure that out because their theory, the prosecutor has not laid their theory out. Certainly Aaron would need to, and it would help make things clearer if Aaron got a bill of particulars making the prosecutor say, hey, here's what this is. Tell us what's going on. Explain to me, spell it out for me. What did I do and why is that illegal? And they have to explain how they believe he committed the crime.
It's not really that relevant at all. But there's also an interesting thing that a lot of people don't realize with photography is that if the photo was taken, say, on Nick's phone and by Nick, then technically the photo belongs to him but then Kayla, you couldn't just
that copyright issue wouldn't. This isn't.
There's two copyright issues here though, because there's Kayla's right to her self-image, and then there's also the photographer's right to their work that they produce. So they could nail Aaron on two copyright cases if they want to take this to civil court. So just putting it out there. It's free legal advice. It's about as valuable. It's about as useful as. I love the copyright argument. It's so much fun.
Oh my god!
I have to deal with that shit though because I did photography for quite a while.
I understand, but we're not. No, we're not doing the goddamn. Oh wow, guys, please, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. The Law Pope title is like a Sanichu medallion. Yeah, well, there's part of that. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that touching me and getting there. So Poe is saying, so someone shared the pictures of Keanu that are already published online. There is no issue, right?
Well, that'd be literally a copyright issue.
Well, I mean, it'd be a copyright. I think they're talking about criminal. I don't think they're worried about copyright here, buddy. I think they're worried about, like, could I get arrested for that?
For piracy, perhaps. If she,
well,
no.
They're worried about the revenge porn. Would that apply here? Like if somebody took the pictures Keanu has published online, and then they took them and started spreading around the internet to try and harass her, would that count as revenge pornography? No, I don't think it would at that point. If they've already been out there.
She willfully published them.
Yeah.
For subscription.
So I
like,
don't
that literally
believe
is a
so,
piracy
but
issue. I believe.
Well, Josh, stop with the fucking piracy. It's not about piracy. We're not talking about sailing the seven seas.
Oh, but I like pirates.
Yeah. What was the thing here? Oh, okay. Oh, Cerebral Parasite gifted 50 subs. Thank you very much. We were trying to get to that.
There you go.
Thank you.
Holding my train whistle for a while.
Shoot for the train. D's.
We need Mala.
For €2 says, will you be the Martin Luther to Rekieta's papacy? No. I'm not going to start over. I'm not starting a new thing. That's not. I don't like things. Like, that's not what I do. No. Although I do have this nasty, I do have this really unlucky habit of getting involved in groups or joining groups as they start to wrap up or disintegrate. On various things I've been involved in life. You ever have that happen?
No, but I don't have any friends, so.
Well, I don't really have too many either, but at the times where I've tried to have friends, I joined the sandwich making club, and I tried to join the sandwich making club in college, and as I was joining them, they kind of it all fell apart and everybody got really mad at each other. That
sounds like a cool club, though. The sandwich. I've never heard of such a club. That seems like fun.
Yeah. And then I tried to join the club where we go to Denny's and we, edit and revise the menus, and that kind of fell apart too. So
you never really know what you're going to get over there.
Yeah, you never do. It's like a box of chocolates.
I thought the sandwich club was just a joke. That's real.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I believed you, you rat. Well, oh my goodness. I was thinking that's cool. You get different breads and everyone would bring different meats and things. I literally believed that for a second. You rat.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
Kaz saying I have the same.
I wanted to believe.
Yeah. Kaz has the same luck as I do with clubs. I know. Yeah, Outer Heaven didn't work out so well, buddy. I understand your problem. Friends are overrated. Yeah, not so much. Friends are fun. Friends are nice to have. They're good for you.
You only need a few good friends. In life, I think.
Yeah, but make friends. Go
3 to 5
meet
friends
people, guys. Go do stuff.
You can kind of get away with life just with that.
Yeah. If only Sean could have breathed life in the sandwich club if he only had time. I could have started a new. Who's Margaret Sanger? Yes. The No Josh's Club. Null is allowed.
That's a good reference. The Simpsons. Oh my gosh, we're allowed to have one.
We're allowed to have one Homer.
Oh no, so sad being named Josh in this sector. How sad for me.
Yes. Obscure Outdoor Destination says, I'm not sure if this is Tony or Ron, but either one of you guys, hello. Hope you're doing well. It says, be a great time to promote challenge coins if you only let us make some. Like I said, I'm thinking about it. I think we might do that coming up. I think that'll be fun. Make some real Clyde coins. Okay, so Cal Roy is saying, I got a question for Meme. Does he like my parodies for the Nick or Ralph thread?
I don't have any lines to Nick, so I couldn't tell you. I like all the memes though. I guess that's what you're asking. But yes, I do like the
parodies
I see on the farms. Yeah, yes, I steal them quite often. Actually,
okay.
Sorry, I misunderstood that for a second. But yes, I do like them. They're great, especially the Simpsons ones. If you're doing those ones. Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Yes,
that was great.
That one is so utilitarian though.
It is, but
there's one. I remember one time I came across it where these communists on Twitter were using it, and they were talking about the party vanguard and different arguments about what's real communism and not communism. It's very interesting how cerebral you can make that, steamed hams meme.
Have you seen the Australian version?
No.
I'll send it to you later. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
Do you know the Aurora Borealis in Australia is actually called Aurora Australis in the Southern Hemisphere in the entirety of the Southern Hemisphere? So and they mentioned that in that one. So it's actually very accurate.
So if I'm in Antarctica, it's called Aurora Australis.
Yeah, it's the Aurora Australis. And in my experience, when I've seen it, it's more red than green. But maybe that's just from where I was viewing it from. I assume it could be green as well. I've never seen
the Aurora Borealis. To see it in Australia?
Yeah, you can see the Aurora Australis in.
I mean, it would be retarded to call it Australialis if it.
Well, like the entire area is kind of like Australasia. That encompasses both New Zealand and Australia, but New Zealanders don't like that. But yeah, I've seen Aurora Australis in both Australia and New Zealand. I've never been further south than New Zealand though, but I mean it's pretty hard to get further south than New Zealand. You have to go down to like maybe the very bottom of South America. I'm not sure if that's geographically more further south, but then it's like next stop is like Antarctica.
Oh yeah, you get down like way down in south. Go to the Falkland Islands or Las Malvinas, depending on who you adhere to. Malcolm X says,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, or you all the way down like Tierra del Fuego. Says for $14.99 in Australian dollar he dues. If Kayla bought the picture off him Holta, she went, oh my god.
Copyright, let's go.
Fucking A, people. Then she would own the copyright and then she could defeat the revenge porn pirates. You have to think outside the box, Sean. Jesus Christ. No, you guys, that's not. David O'Neill says, I wish you 1 million sandwiches. That sounds rather tasty. Thank you. Hopefully not all at once, because then they'll get stale. Like, hopefully it's like I can eat the sandwich and then like another one would be ready and made for me. Because if you make them all at once, I don't know. Like, that's not fair. I have to give them away before they go bad. Colostomy Bag's been a member for 18 months. Says, don't build an H-bar with an 18-inch barrel and a quad rail. Too heavy. Yeah, that's really heavy. Don't go dremeling on that barrel, but get a lighter profile. Get a government profile. I mean, it's a little lighter, but you don't really need an H-bar. You don't need the heavy barrel. And the quad rail, yeah, you don't need that either. I mean, get some M-Lock. It'll be a lot better for you, unless you're trying to do like a G-Walk clone, but I don't know why you're doing. I mean, that's retro now. So, Jonathan says you should call your community Sandwich Club. Well, you know what? I should move to the Sandwich Islands and do it. That would be the fun thing.
There's like Sandwich Mountains in Australia as well.
Oh, there is? Ooh.
This one's always
sounds like fun. There we go. Let's see. What is that in the background? I hear noise. Is that birds?
Crows. Yeah. Oh. Asian jungle crows. They're actually I think the largest builders in the bird kingdom. They're very cool, very smart. They can remember a face for up to 10 years, and they form grudges and alliances. Crows are fascinating creatures, actually.
Are you allowed to kill them?
They're kind of just pests here.
Okay.
Because you have to cover your garbage with nets, otherwise they tear them apart and everything. But if you feed them, they'll remember your face and they'll teach your face to other crows in the group, and they'll actually like look after you and bring you treats and things like those shiny things and stuff.
Is it like the
China who was training them to do that?
Is it like the magpies in Australia, where if you're not paying attention, they'll start chasing you?
No, crows don't really harass people at all.
Okay.
They're not very territorial unless you become an aggressor. Like I said, if you start throwing rocks at crows, they will remember your face, and every time they see you, they will start attacking you. So you can make like enemies with crow gangs.
So it's like Zelda when when you attack the chickens.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. No, crows are very intelligent birds. They're up there. They're really up there in the intelligence. I mean, obviously they're just birds, but they're like pretty close to like the African grey parrot, I think, actually, which is the smartest bird.
Okay, Chad, don't fuck with the crows, or just kill them and do it.
Yeah, they're big over here too. They're not like the small ones. They're like Asian jungle crows are like this big. They're big birds. When Andrew was walking around Tokyo, we saw some, and I pointed them out. He was like, "What the fuck is that?" But I thought they had them in Korea, but I guess they don't. I don't know.
Oh, are they like pigeons? Are they everywhere?
In Japan, they are. Yes.
Oh. Kiana says a sandwich making club would be adorable. Well, it could be, but I think it'd just be a lot more about eating. And Jerry says 6 million sandwiches disappeared. Oh, I don't know how many panini makers would you need to make 6 million sandwiches? We have to do the math, chat. How many toaster ovens?
Good question.
Yes.
To behave.
No, we already did that. Cost me bag. Yeah, don't build an H bar. There's no, unless you're trying to do like a period correct clone. I don't see the point. The Denny's Police Menu Creation Club, yes. Jay says, beware of killer sandwiches. Boar's Head Sandos are killing people left and right. Yeah, there's like a big Listeria recall or E. coli recall on sandwich meat in America.
That's disgusting.
So, yeah, I mean, not dead yet, so. Do you want to rename the safe house to the sandwich house? Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. Where are we at here? Also in bed trying to type. Yeah, you could do that. I can see that being a problem. What part of Japan are you in, Meme? I think we'll end on that.
I'm in Kansai, which is southern Japan. So, like around Kyoto, Osaka, Kobe, Himeji, Nara, that area. It's like the second largest popular center. Like obviously Tokyo is the largest by quite a wide margin. But Kansai is a much more relaxed area of Japan. It's a lot more friendly. The food's a bit better in my opinion. And it's just a little bit more. It's kind of like it. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it that would relate to American viewers, but it's just like a little bit less casual Japan. I'll say a bit more fun down here.
Can we here?
Yeah, you can have a look.
People don't. Yeah, I'll pull up a map. Like, don't need to tell me exactly where your house is, but it'd say look for the white guy in Japan, but that's not very descriptive either.
Well, I stand at like a head above everyone else, so that's pretty easy to find.
Yeah. All right.
So, just the Kansai area.
Here we go. So
see how like Kobe, Kyoto, and Osaka are all very close together. That's basically Kansai.
Okay, so you're somewhere.
It just means like Western Japan, basically.
So you're like somewhere around in here.
Yep.
Okay. So
I used to live up by that lake. I used to live up by the lake in north of Kyoto in Shiga.
Okay.
That's a really nice place to live, actually.
All right, chat. So here's the scavenger hunt. You got to go find Josh. We're going to Japan. That's the prize.
Yeah, there's only 50 million people that live in this area.
Yeah, you just got to run up to every white guy. If you find him, I'll send you a mug. So happy hunting.
Yeah, I've got. I'll give you a train whistle. I've got an extra one from BP.
Oh, there you go. So you get a train whistle and a coffee cup. All right, chat. I think we're gonna wrap up. We just got the Hokkaido Master Race.
Hokkaido is nice. I want to go up there, but I'm so busy at the moment I can't.
Corey Cass for $2 New Zealand says the Magpies at my local golf course hate me.
Yeah.
I've seen the Bluey episode.
Golf courses usually have like these big pine trees around them, and that's where the magpies like to nest, and that's the perfect place to swoop down on people.
Well, we watched that a couple weeks ago where all the kids were getting swooped on, and you talked about you had to wear your little like magpie helmet.
Oh man, I wish I could find it. I can't remember where it was. Maybe it's in my DMs.
Yeah.
But my friend sent me an image the other day. It was so funny. It was like a picture from a guy, a biker. He put a camera on the back of his helmet. And then he just took a bike ride in Australia, and this magpie is just chasing after him. It's so funny, but I don't know where it was. If I could bring it up, I'd send it to you.
And Startup Lab for 1999 says, thanks, Sean and Meme, for indulging in the chat's guilty pleasure and following this Minnesota clown show. Well, I mean, it's got everything in it. It's got funniness. It's got, the law. It's got a little bit of everything. It's all wrapped up in one. It's a neat little present.
All right, I found it. Check your Discord in just a second.
Oh, your magpie helmet? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. This is such a funny picture.
Oh, hold on here. Open link. Wow, that is really close to the helmet. And it's like full tilt trying to catch him. Wow, that's funny.
They're so grumpy too.
So funny.
Yeah,
that's a very angry bird.
Their beaks are so sharp and dangerous as well. They'll peck out like lamb's eyes, like when you've got like lambing season. There's a lot of sheep farms over there. They'll just like if they find like a lamb by itself without its mother around, they'll just peck out their eyes. They're sweet, juicy eyes.
Oof, it's gonna be rough. It doesn't sound like fun. And John Burns for almost $3 Australian dues, $2.99 Australian dollars, says, "Are you guys streaming more this weekend? Meme, are you?"
Yeah, I'll probably do a stream in about 4.5 hours.
Okay.
I was going to spend most of the day just working on my Rings of Power Season 2 review for Episode 1. It's shit, by the way. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes.
Did you know that in Rings of Power, there's a new law on Sauron? After he got killed by the elves, he turned into a pile of shit and then got run over by a cart.
Okay. Sounds very karmic.
That's actually canon now. It was a drunken human peasant runs him over when he's in his pile of shit form. Very, very sad. It's not good, bros. Tolkien bros, it's rough out there.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the Rings of Power, never watched it.
You should just watch the supercut I made of it on my channel.
Yeah. I'm saying like Mandalorian, all that stuff. Nope, never watched it.
Mandalorian season 1 was okay.
Yeah, but it got so but the people who were like, weapons are my religion, I would like to see the baby. And it's like, okay, this got really gay really quick. I'm gonna pass. So Edier says, why watch it just to suffer? Well, I mean, he suffers so you don't have to. So. Yeah. As far as
tear it down as well.
As far as me, guys, I don't know. We'll be on. I don't know about tonight. It's Friday into Saturday now. Probably tonight. Sunday, don't know. And then Monday, probably at some point. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about. Maybe what's going on with Sarah Boone, because that does seem hilarious. She's got like a lawyer who lives 300 miles away who's working with her. And then next week we are doing not a murder, not a rape, not something crazy, but a simple little trial about a cop accused of beating the shit out of a guy in a traffic stop. And it's a simple little trial that happened down the road from here a couple of months ago. I think it's really interesting because this is the real stuff. I mean, there's murders and things happening all over, but most trials aren't murders or crazy shit. It's more simple stuff, and we're going to start that starting on Tuesday.
Sounds good.
So, yeah. All right, let's see here. Prove you're not gay now. Well, I mean, why do I have to prove it? Why don't you prove you're not gay, Vince?
Just name 5 things you like eating that aren't penises, and then we'll know that you're not gay. Hot dogs, bananas,
lollipops. Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh no. No.
All right, guys. That's it for tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Lots going on here. Like I said, I don't, from reading the state's thing, I don't think Nick's going to be able to beat the Franks. He's not going to get his Franks hearing. I don't think he's going to get it. I think he's going to have to be left with challenging probable cause. Don't think that's going to go well. As far as what's going on with Aaron, I think Aaron's just going to have to get his attorney to put some work in. And I think there are some exculpatory things there for him, but we'll see where that goes. And Aaron, hope you stay out of trouble in the meantime. I'm not going to wish anybody get picked up on a warrant. I don't care who they are. Hope you lay low until court opens up. So remember, guys, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. And that also includes if you kind of him and haw and bullshit with the cops about whether or not you sent a picture of somebody. Just because you did it does not mean you're guilty, but don't do that. Don't fucking talk. Then there's no fucking problems. That's the best part, chat. That's the best part. And then I can't remember for $9.99. Sterling, the King Sterling, says, "I'm just awake. I will replay." Well, thank you. So, all right,
very
chat.
Nice replay crew. Yeah. Remember to subscribe and like the video for sure.
Yes,
he deserves it. Come on. Now.
Good night, everybody. Take care. And holy shit, it is 3:30 in the morning. So,
wow,
3 hours and 15 minutes. And we did it, chat. We met the goal. Good night, guys.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rekieta yelled at? Why, yes it was.